room, including 3 fully functional pools, giving you a full hands-on experience when purchasing from Tucker Backyard. We look forward to serving you from our brand new facility, Tucker Backyard Pools and Spa, 8086 Seneca Turnpike, 1 mile west of Big Apple Plaza. Online at tuckerbackyard.com. We bring the fun to your backyard.
WIBX 950 and 1069 FM. This is Keeler.
Well, good morning. It's Friday morning, and a little dissipation yesterday. Actually, a lot of dissipation of the clouds and the smoke, the haze, the pollution. Although they do say we'll probably get a little more of it today and even tomorrow, but for the most part, we're in better shape right now. Boy, I just heard people talking yesterday about how this. The fear is that this just is not going to go away. People comparing it to COVID, that we're going to go all summer like this. And then yesterday, out of nowhere, we saw blue skies. Wow. That was pretty awesome. And the smell, I believe it's kind of still out there a little bit, but
It's so much
not
better than
anything close to what we were dealing with before. Manansky, let's speaking of the smell, this might be the low point for the New York Mets.
Well, let's hope so. Last night's loss was brutal.
Devastating. You have a 9-5 lead, I think, at one point, and they lose the game with a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 10th, 13-10. I asked myself, why did I stay up for that?
Same here.
Yeah.
And you could almost feel like it was going to, you kind of felt that it was going to happen. They were trying to blow it the whole night. The offense did keep answering back every time Atlanta would creep a run closer, but you could just feel like that they just couldn't hold the lead.
Verlander had a rough night, but so did the Braves pitchers. I mean, think about it. 23 runs scored in 10 innings yesterday. But you're right. You just had the feel that the Mets did not have what it takes to be able to finish that game out, and they didn't. Wow. They've now lost how many straight?
6 in a row.
6 in a row. Wow. As we head into a weekend in Pittsburgh, I believe. And then more games, more things moved around because of the Canadian wildfires.
Yeah, the Yankees did get their doubleheader in, but some practices were moved yesterday. I thought they canceled the Belmont Stakes, but apparently
I don't think there's been any word as of any cancellation.
they must have canceled action at the track yesterday.
There may have been at track action this week. And I believe it was, when we were talking about it, was Wednesday or Thursday. I believe it was canceled then. But as for tomorrow, I don't think anything's been canceled as of yet.
Yes, it is still on as far as I know.
All right, so let's see. What do we have? Yesterday, former President Donald Trump being indicted on this case of top secret documents or whatever, classified documents, whatever you want to call it. But I kind of wondered if anything was going to come out of this, and it has with an indictment, according to the former president.
Yeah, and again, he's the source of this information, right?
It was released by him.
So I do find that interesting as well. But it looks like he's going to be indicted. I know people underscore the difference here in the Pence case and the Biden case, but I didn't think they were actually going to go forward with an indictment in this particular incident. I know there's pending indictments in different situations for the former president. I actually didn't think they were going to go forward with this one, but I didn't think they were going to go forward with the last one. So we'll see what happens.
And it's interesting because the claim is that there's testimony that he knew these certain documents involving either an attack on Iran, documents involving China. He knew that these documents were classified and that he could not take them. He took them anyway and then resisted. And they, the people who have testified have leaked, or someone has leaked, that the Trump organization or Trump himself resisted when it came to obtaining those documents, getting those documents back. They claimed they cooperated, but it all led to that raid. So what is the answer? And once you get out of the grand jury, all of a sudden testimony becomes public, and we'll get to see exactly what they have or what they claim they have, don't have.
Do you?
But I would think if you're indicting a former president, you better have a rock solid case here.
Do you think this helps or hurts him? Do you think? I guess it doesn't change anything, probably, right?
It's funny because John Decker had said initially it has helped him because people have rallied around him, but he believes, John Decker, White House correspondent with Gray TV, and an attorney, as you get into the details, it's the details that'll ultimately, if they have a case, it'll be the details that turn people off and could ultimately end up hurting him. Right now, he is the leading contender on the Republican side by a landslide.
With 2 indictments now and more pending?
Yeah. Because right now, up to this point, he's done a really good job of saying this is part of the witch hunt. This is all made up and not true. It's unfair. Why didn't they go after Joe Biden? Why didn't they go after Hillary Clinton? These are all good arguments until the evidence comes out. And that's where it becomes on both sides. If it's on Trump's side, the evidence, if it's really bad, could hurt him. If the evidence is not strong, you have to ask yourself, has the Department of Justice been weaponized? And how could they go after a president like this, make such an unprecedented move? But we won't know any of it until we see, and you get to make your own conclusion.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there will be those on the Trump side, no matter what gets testified, no matter what comes out of it, that they will be in full support of the former president. And to be fair, there will be those that no matter what comes out of the testimony, they will be against the former president.
That's true.
Somewhere in the middle, there's America. Somewhere lost in the middle. Angelo is a guy. He's an umpire. He's a local community member. Listens, asks for a list of what do you watch when you're, you guys watch a lot of streaming shows. What do you watch? And I really worked hard on this list. People called in with stuff. Finally, the list is posted. It's up on our website. He has just had a surgery and is looking to stream away.
Yeah.
And there's some good ones. I just couldn't believe when I was really looking into all of the options that are out there. It's shocking how much the streaming world rules the world of entertainment from your home.
Oh, yeah, there's no question about it now.
It's unbelievable. And it all really goes back to those days of HBO with Sopranos and all of those shows. And, you look at it today and just all of the options. And then you have on top of it, you have Apple TV and all of these other services from Disney to Paramount and all of this. They all have either movies or one-and-dones or series that go on for 3, 4, 5 seasons, giving you 50 episodes to play with. Pretty wild.
As we had predicted, though, this is the part that drives me nuts. We were so excited to be able to cut the cord at evil Spectrum, and I guess maybe some people still think part of that's true, but then when you get into these streaming services, if you want to see this show, or as you said, every one of them's got a hot show out there. So how many streaming services can you have?
By the time you're done, you're
paying more than you were paying the cable company.
$5.95 here, $10.95 here, $14.95 here. Yeah, by the time you're done, you're paying for, and you still have to have a high-speed internet to get there. And around here, we don't have any options. Around here, you could go with satellite, but that's slower than molasses. You could go with Fios, but that's almost impossible to get around here. There are a few areas in the market, believe it or not, that have Verizon Fios, which is much faster than cable high-speed internet, and it's consistent. It doesn't vary based on the number of people who are on in your neighborhood. And then you have high-speed internet from Spectrum, which is basically almost the only choice for most of us. You could go cellular, but it's just not enough to stream.
Right.
You really want that high-speed internet. So are you really cutting from the cable company? I guess, but nonetheless, the full list of everything up there that, and believe me, I left so many off, but these are just things that we've watched over the years that are really good, and even some throwbacks. If you're looking for something, it might be a little rainy and cool today, might be the good day today later on tonight to get into that. Anyway, it's up on our website at WIBX950.com, along with the Mohawk Valley Crime Stoppers Wanted Person of the Week. You can check that out from Rome PD. And in addition to that, Don Leibel has a great story up there that he's done, Reflections of a Sports Broadcasting Pioneer and his career. And we're talking about Bob Wolf, who's a legendary baseball broadcaster. And Don does a really in-depth story after conversations with him up on our website at WIBX950.com. Tell you about how you can become the singer at the national anthem singer at the Boilermaker post-race party. Well, it all happens on Boilermaker Sunday after the race. And our event is coming up at Babes. We've partnered with WUTR, Eyewitness News, and we will be over at Babes coming up later on in the month. And you'll have that opportunity to, if you're a singer, to sing away and compete to become the singer for the national anthem at the post-race party. You know, you could have 35, 45,000 people there. It all depends on, you know, in some years, I think it's been over 40,000 people. And we've had some amazing singers. If you are one of those, there's a story up on our website where you can get the details. And we hope to see you coming up on June 28th at 6 p.m. at Babes, sponsored by the Boilermaker, WIBX, and, of course, WUTR Eyewitness News. Also, one more opportunity for you to win, and you also go to our website for this. It's Win Keeler's New York Sash windows. We had beautiful double-hung windows installed, 4 of them to be exact, triple pane. They have the raised grids on the inside and out. These are just beautiful windows that would add a great deal to your home. And you can get them absolutely free just by signing up on our website. Go to WIBX950.com. In the drop-down bar, look for Keeler up at the top. Click on that, and you'll see the contest, the official rules, and where you can sign up to win. You would agree, Jeff, that this is these are beautiful windows that will improve the value of your home. And installation and the windows all taken care of, no purchase necessary.
Absolutely. Beautiful, high quality. They look great. They keep the cold out. They keep the heat out, or however you want to say that.
Well, in the heat, you want that heat out when it's 90 degrees outside.
That's right.
And if you're running air conditioning, you want to make sure you're insulated. But, you know, you could be insulated at 100%. And if your windows are leaking the air, then you're not saving after all. This morning on the program, Tanya Powers will speak with her on the passing of Pat Robertson. And you remember, Pat Robertson was a one-time former presidential candidate, along with his TV show and his preaching.
He didn't get the nomination, right? No, I would have remembered that.
No.
Yeah, okay.
But he was, one of those who was running. And I seem to recall him in the debates, but this goes back several years. Tanya will have that. Willie Waffle up. We talk about the streaming options that are out there. Willie with movies and streaming options. The big blockbusters of the summer are being released, and many of them are in theaters. You don't initially get to see them. This is a throwback, pre-COVID throwback.
Yeah, and then we'll talk with Ryan Schmelz. This is the latest on that Biden situation, where Jim Comer is now saying he's not going to investigate or hold in contempt Christopher Wray, because apparently there's going to be a document that's shown to all of the House oversight members.
Right.
But again, I don't know. I think this is a bait and switch again here. This is another, we've got the golden goose, or we've got the evidence, and now he seems to be backing away from his initial position. So,
well, one of the things that John Decker also said, or Ryan Nobles, I think, might have been the one that said, and I heard from a lot of people complaining about it, saying, he's one-sided, but this is his take, is that one strategy, one belief is that a lot of this Biden stuff is to taint the Department of Justice when they do ultimately indict Donald Trump. And, well, that time is here, right? They've made the indictment. So
right.
Sooner or later, though, you've got all this on Biden. You gotta either do it or punt, and it'll be interesting to see what comes of this. We'll speak with Ryan Schmelz on that later on. Also, Utica mayoral candidate running on in the Republican primary, and also running on the conservative line. Bob Cardillo is in, and over in Rome, Jeff Lanigan is the challenger of the Republican-endorsed mayor incumbent, Jackie Izzo. He'll be on in the 8 o'clock hour.
Yeah, so we'll have 2 of the candidates back-to-back. And then I've got to touch base with Bob on our debate date, because I've been working on this all week, but I'm struggling to get a confirmation and that's not necessarily Bob's fault, but I'm having trouble contacting the person that he had me coordinate with.
It is good to have them in debate fashion, all of the candidates, and I believe we have it worked out where we'd have a total of 6 mayoral candidates, 2 from Rome, 4 from Utica, in studio. Here's it was a week ago we were talking about the world's largest yard sale over at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds. In Los Angeles, a man is celebrating after selling a chair he bought on Facebook Marketplace. He paid $50 for the chair.
Okay.
And then he did what others have said they do in studio. We've had people talking about it. They'll get things, and then they'll turn around and resell them. John, who's our boss down the hallway, does it all the time. Makes a lot of money. Sometimes he says he may clean something up, but he doesn't do much to it.
Yeah, I find this interesting where he buys and resells. I thought initially when he was explaining this to me when I first met him was that he was like, sanding it down if it's a table and refinishing it or something like that. But no.
He doesn't do anything.
In this particular case with this chair, was it just a find and a resell, or did they spend some time enhancing or refinishing whatever the product was?
Here's the deal on the chair. He purchased it for $50 on Facebook Marketplace. He then realized, this is more valuable than I thought. What do you think he ended up selling the chair? This is a chair. What did he sell the chair for?
$900.
You always ruin these things.
No.
It went up on auction and sold for $85,000.
I didn't ruin that.
Here's the video Justin Miller posted on his Instagram. It was a 1931 rare. This would be, I'm telling you, this would be the chair that my wife would say, this is garbage. What are you doing? We don't want that. Don't pick that up. I'm like, no, but I think this is a valuable chair. I paid $50.
Wow.
You paid $50 for that, you idiot.
He got $85,000?
$85,000. Here he is talking about it on his Instagram. Yes or no, maybe. We got to play. Here it is.
It's the morning of the auction. My chair is the next lot. I can't wait to see how much it goes for. If you're new here, I'm Justin, and I bought a chair off of Facebook Marketplace for $50 in February. And today, in like 1 minute, it goes to auction.
24, say 26. 22, 28. Back here, I'm 30. On the telephone. Will you say 32? 70,000 here.
For a dumb chair.
This bid, I'll take 80 if you like. Last chance. At 85, it's yours. 85,000.
Wow.
That's unbelievable.
You know what would have happened if that was my chair that I would have picked up on the? It would have been like on the side of the road or something. And I'd have picked it up. I'd have brought it home. My wife would say, "Yeah, you would never sell it." But what would happen is if it ever sold for $85,000, I'd get the $85,000 and die of a heart attack. That's what would happen. Like, oh my God, that's all over for me. All right, we mentioned Tanya Powers on the passing of Pat Robertson. Tanya J. Powers from Fox News on the line right now. Good morning.
By the way, this chair looks like a hand that is about to grab you and keep you and take you to another world. Have you seen the picture of this thing?
I have, and as I said, this would be if I were to have brought this chair home, my wife would be like, take that right back out. What is wrong with you?
Like the Flintstones, you'd be sleeping on the stoop, and the chair would be in the house.
Yeah, and I honestly don't know that he knew what he had, but he had to know it was something because he took it to auction.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, more power to him. I
Yeah.
would be like you. I would take one look at this thing and go, "That's not going to be in my house."
That's right.
Sorry,
Ugly.
No.
Yeah.
And then I would have missed out on a $100,000 share.
Just unbelievable. But what a great find. You never know, Tanya, what you're going to find out there.
Oh,
I got to
right.
say, you being in the city, I love going to the lots. Those, what do they call, like the flea markets and that sort of thing in New York,
Yeah.
because. And even whenever we travel, if you go to a garage sale or a yard sale or a flea market somewhere out of your region, it's funny. You see things that are, old hat for everybody in that region. But for you, you're like, I've never seen one of these. You just see different things, and it's really cool to do it out of town.
It is kind of fun. I've never done that out of town, but
Yeah.
I used to love going like yard sailing on Saturday morning. Absolutely. You could find all kinds of stuff.
Good stuff. All right. Yesterday we learned of the passing of Pat Robertson, a former candidate for president of the United States.
Mm-hmm. Yes. He was basically the guy who, started the Christian Coalition. That is the thing that, he sort of, leaned into a lot when he was, like courting the network of people in Iowa, the folks at evangelical Christian churches. That is, a common strategy now. Politically, he was kind of the first person to sort of do that. He was second in the Iowa caucuses when he ran in 88. He was just ahead of Vice President George H.W. Bush. Which, interestingly enough, the thing that he did, which was actually a really smart thing, was insisting that they had, the 3 million people across the U.S. sign petitions before he would even decide to run. And that, of course, gave him, a following once he, said, yes, okay, I'm running.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
You talked me into it. And, it was one of the between that and like the Christian Coalition, those were two of the things that really boosted him in his run. Some of the things that, most people knew about the Christian Broadcasting Network that he founded and, the 700 Club and stuff like that.
Or did I lose you? I believe, yeah. Jeff, you're answering the phones in there. Oh, Lordy. Yeah, you got to go to the bottom row. And the phone that you answered was Tanya. Davey's off today. Good morning, Jeff. You all right?
Did I lose her?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you did. Yepper. That's okay. That's all right. I was just, it is what it is. So we're waiting on Willie. As I mentioned, Davey is off here this morning. I guess I'll close it out by saying, because she's not calling back, close it out by saying Pat Robertson is dead at the age of whatever we said yesterday.
93.
I think he was in his 90s, 93 years old.
I kind of alluded to this yesterday, and I don't want to, speak ill of the dead. Did I not give him a fair shake, or?
No, I mean, listen, it is what it is, and when you he would oftentimes talk about homosexuality. He was the enemy of many of those cultural things in America. But let's not forget that when President Obama was president of the United States, he refused to come out in support of gay marriage, and so it was a different time, and the certainly times changed. That might be Willie right there. Certainly times have changed over the years as we've plowed forward into where we are today. But you cannot take away from him. He's a former presidential candidate.
And again, I'm not being defensive. I'm just saying, and I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, that I felt like if you've lived the first, 40, 50, 60, 80 years of your life with people saying this is bad, you're not allowed to do this. And I guess in this case, he was a preacher.
Well, he's following the Word of God.
Following the Word of God, right? And then all of a sudden, there's a cultural change. I don't expect those people to immediately go, you know what? We were wrong for 60 years.
Is that Willie?
That is
Willie Waffle on the line right now. And good morning, Willie. Good morning. We're having phone issues. And, Jeff, you can make your way back in here because that mic is very, very low. Just keep that in mind. Hello, Willie. Good morning.
How you doing? As I call you from the land of smoke.
It's funny. How are you guys doing this morning? Because we've cleared up a little bit.
Yeah, it's actually a little bit clearer now. We can actually breathe outside. It's nice.
Yeah.
I walked out on the porch. I didn't see a big cloud of smoke hanging over my car. That was nice. It's a normal color. It's not orange today. It's almost like we're coming out of the worst of it, and the sun will be shining again, and we can breathe the fresh air and go back to having another tragedy at some point.
Man, it just puts all the more pressure on Annie, doesn't it?
I know, right?
So I just, I had conversations last night with some people who I think they got it right. They're like, this is just a fact. You look out and it just seemed so eerie. And the only thing they could piece together to compare it to is COVID.
Yeah.
And what it was like during COVID. Like you just felt like, wow, this feels like the end. And But the sun shine. We had sun yesterday. That was a great surprise.
It felt like a horror movie, and what was it? I think it was Tuesday when things really started to kick in. I'm just I'm working away at my desk, and I'm like starting to get darker. It's really feeling like it's dark. Like at 2:00 in the afternoon, it feels like it's 8 p.m.
Yeah,
and that's when I looked outside and I said, "Oh, things are not good right now."
Well, listen, you can just close the blinds and stream away these days. There's a story up on our website about all the streaming that you can do, and many of the great shows that are out there. But we're making a trend back into the movie theater all of a sudden this summer.
Yeah, I think we are. I think that movie theaters have become revived, and and there's a lot of joking about it, but I truly believe it. Thank you, Tom Cruise, because when he put Top Gun Maverick out into theaters, people started going again, and they're willing to go to the big blockbusters, and that seems to be the model moving forward. I'm going to have my big blockbuster that's going to get all the young kids to come out to the movies, and then the smaller things, the more drama related things, the more adult related things, the things that are going to win Oscars, they're going to just kind of find their lives on streaming. And this week is a great way to make the point when you look at what's in theaters and what went to streaming. Well, what's in theaters is Transformers Rise of the Beasts, okay? A big, massive summer blockbuster, which is just full of all the greatest CGI you've ever seen, all the big action scenes, all the big fights, robots fighting robots. That's summer movie right there.
It's also, and I'm seeing maybe a little bit of a trend here, it's also targeted at a younger demographic.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they've really kind of, it's hard to say that it's a reboot. I mean, it really is kind of a prequel again. So, you had the first few movies, and then the last one that came out in 2018, the Bumblebee movie. This is a sequel to that.
Okay.
So they've gone back in time. They're now in the 1990s, and Optimus Prime and Bumblebee and the other Transformers kind of are trying to lay low. They're living in New York City. They're just not looking for any trouble. But trouble finds them, my friends. A beacon has been revived that sends a message to their enemies, the Terror Cons. And Optimus Prime knows this is trouble, man. There's only one group that can save them: the Maximals.
The Maximals.
Yeah. So you've got Transformers that are robots and disguise themselves as cars, and then you've got the Maximals. They're robots who disguise themselves as animals.
What do you give Transformers: Rise of the Beasts?
It's like a 2.5 waffle movie. I mean, it's they're going to try to throw in some personal stories and some stuff to make you feel for the characters, and none of that matters, because the only thing that matters is I want to see the Transformers transform. And even though that first Transformers movie came out, like 16 years ago, this is still some of the coolest CGI that is in a movie right now, and it still wins me over every time.
Okay. Well, that, of course, in theaters, which seems to be lasting, about a month before we stream now? Certainly we're going to the streaming services faster than we used to.
Yeah, I mean, you used to look at like a 90-day window.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're seeing a 3 to 6 week window now,
right.
Depending on who owns the movie. Like somebody like Universal, which owns the NBC, they own Peacock. They want to get those movies out into Peacock as fast as they can.
We started watching, and I said that I was working on this story. For a listener that has all of the different options out there that you can stream some really cool stuff. We started watching something new last night called Based on a True Story. That's on Peacock.
Yeah.
I was a little tired, so I was in and out during this. But what's your take on this one?
I think it's interesting. I mean, the story is Kaylee Cuoco and Chris Messina. They play this married couple. She's pregnant and having a baby. Both of them are kind of not having the greatest lives. They haven't had the greatest careers. Things haven't quite worked out for them. But they smell success and fame and fortune right around the corner, because there is a serial killer that is operating in their neighborhood, and they think they know who it is. And instead of turning him into the police, they want to do a podcast and become famous for true crime. And I gotta say, I think the only problem I really have with the series, and this is a big one, I feel like it's torn between comedy and drama too often, and clearly delineated between scenes with Kaylee Cuoco and scenes with Chris Messina. When Cuoco's in it, it seems to be more of a comedy. She plays it for comedy. When Messina's in it, he plays it more for drama. It's more of a drama. And I think that kind of has some issues. I mean, it's interesting. I like some of the dramatic elements they put in here. You're going to be really shocked at I think the twist that kind of comes about in the first couple of episodes. I'm at about 2.5 waffles. And maybe I'll throw in a little extra points because in the series, Kaylee Cuoco's character is from Binghamton.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. I guess I didn't get. Did I miss that last night?
Yeah, it was a really quick deal. I don't know if you remember the scene. The plumber comes into their house and he goes, "Hey, is that Binghamton?" She's like, "Oh yeah, I grew up there," and that's about it.
Okay, all right.
He saw a picture of them on their mantle there.
Okay. Yeah. How much is this stealing a little bit from Steve Martin Short, and
totally.
Selena Gomez? Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that one is so much better. I mean, Only Murders in the Building, which, by the way, season 3 premiering August 8th, I think it is.
Yep.
That set the standard. I mean, and a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows and streaming, they want to play on the podcast. It's the hot thing, Everybody has a podcast, and there's a lot of really cool, subtle jokes in this series, in this based on a true story about the way people are living their lives on the internet and Instagram and trying to have podcasts, and I got a little bit of amusement out of that.
Yeah. Okay, but worth watching.
Yeah, I think it's worth watching. I mean, hey, I'm up to about episode 5, and there's only 8 of them out there.
Okay, all right, we're not even that close. I think we got it through. I don't think we got through the full episode last night. There's another one that's worth streaming this weekend, Flamin' Hot on Hulu, or is it? What did you think of it?
Yeah, so Flamin' Hot on Hulu and Disney Plus, it turns out.
Okay.
And so it is the what I'm calling the not so true story of a Frito-Lay janitor who claims he invented Flamin' Hot Cheetos. And so you see the whole story. He comes up with the idea. They're testing recipes. He's working with the family. He's trying to convince the executives at Frito-Lay that this is a great product, that it's going to reach a whole new market. And it's a great tale. It's a wonderful movie. Just most of it's not true.
Right.
That's the unfortunate part. The claims that this guy has come up with, this Richard Montanez. I mean, while he did rise from janitor to being one of the top marketing executives at Frito-Lay, which is a great story, and he should be trumpeted for that. But he has only recently started claiming that he's the guy who came up with the Flamin' Hot Cheetos idea, and Frito-Lay has already said, well, no, that's not the case. We don't know why he's saying that. He wasn't in that room. He wasn't part of those plans. We had been doing that before he even got into marketing.
But it is. But the truth is that he did rise to the top, from janitor to marketing guru. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a story, I mean, you see this guy. He's had a hard life. He didn't make the best decisions as a kid. He spent some time, I think it was in prison, and decided to turn his life around. And it's a wonderful story. And that story right there is great. But without the Flamin' Cheetos hook, I just don't know if they make the movie.
Well,
but I'm going to say 3 waffles. I think it's a good tale.
Flamin' Hot. It's on Hulu and Disney Plus. All right, good stuff. Talking to Willie Waffle. Quickly, Willie, Pete Davidson and PETA. What's your take on this one?
So Pete Davidson went out the other day and bought himself a new pet for his mother. And PETA got very, very upset because Pete Davidson did not go to a shelter to get his pet. And Davidson was highly offended at the attacks that PETA leveled against him, and he called the spokesman for PETA and left a very, very profanity-filled voicemail explaining that the reason he went to a pet shop is because his mother's dog had just passed away, and he was trying to get the same type of dog. And because of his massive allergies, they tend to try to get a dog that's a little bit more hypoallergenic. and he just ripped into these folks. And if
Yeah,
you
he
ever
did.
want to hear, you want to hear the voicemail, it's out there. I mean, I think at a minimum it's on TMZ right now.
Yeah. We
And,
played it earlier in the week. It's
and he's really upset with the pet store. They filmed him without his knowledge.
Never, right? It never would have gotten out had they not.
It never would have gotten out. And I think they're the ones who dropped it to the paparazzi. I really do.
Wow. All right, Willie, good stuff. Willie Waffle, and again, it used to be all movies, and now streaming, movies, and entertainment. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay clear of the smoke.
And dog shelters.
Okay.
Yeah, and dog shelters. All right, Willie, thank you, man.
Have a great one.
You do the
Bye.
same. Willie Waffle. News is straight ahead.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica, Rome, W295DI Utica, Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
Nothing wrong. It's a hoax. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Former President Trump reacting to being indicted again.
I'm an innocent man. We will prove that again. 7 years of proving it, and here we go again. Very unfair.
He's the first former president to face federal charges. This case is related to classified documents found and seized by the FBI from his Florida resort. Trump lawyer Jim Trusty just alleged on Fox one of the deputies to the special counsel extorted a lawyer to
try to flip a witness against the president. I've been around prosecution I was a prosecutor 27 years, never seen anything remotely like this. They literally obstruct justice to try to say President Trump was obstructing justice.
That is one of the 7 federal charges against the former president. There's also destruction and falsification of records. Fox's Alexandria Hoff reports.
The former president and once again candidate has been ordered to appear at 3 p.m. in a Miami courtroom on Tuesday. Republicans have been quick to point out the obvious, that is President Biden's own retention of documents, calling the Justice Department's efforts biased.
If the president in power can just jail his political opponents, which is what Joe Biden is trying to do tonight, we don't have a republic anymore.
That's Republican Senator Josh Hawley. Democrats have a different reaction. Congressman Adam Schiff says the former president acted like he was above the law. Now he's being treated like any other lawbreaker. Congressman Jamie Raskin says Trump put our national security in grave danger. President Biden's also under investigation for having classified documents dating back years. And yesterday, House Republicans viewed an FBI document alleging the president may have been involved in a bribery scheme when he was vice president. Oversight Committee Chair James Comer tells Fox.
The payor of these bribes bragged that the way Biden wanted the money distributed, it would be through so many banks that it would take investigators 10 years to track the money.
President Biden calls it all malarkey. The air's cleared in much of the Northeast. The quality this morning from Washington to New York City, not even close to the hazardous levels of recent days from wildfire smoke. America's listening to Fox News.
I've told you about my lower back pain and how kneeling in church on Sunday was becoming nearly unbearable. Sebastian Gorka here. I've also told you about how Relief Factor has helped almost eliminate my pain. Now, let me tell you what Robert in California says about his experience with Relief Factor. Robert writes, I didn't think Relief Factor was working until I ran out mid-month. After about 3 days, the pain was back to where it started. It was a great test for me to see how much Relief Factor really works. 3 weeks from now, you could be doing the things you enjoy doing and living the life you love. Your first step to becoming pain-free from aches and pains from daily living could be just to order the 3-week quick start for only $19.95. After trying Relief Factor, over 500,000 people have gone on to order more. Go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF to find out about this offer. That's relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Feel the difference with Relief Factor.
Well, we have a light rain, still some smoke in the sky. We'll update that situation momentarily, and we have 51 degrees. WIBX News time is 7:03. This news update is brought to you by My Carl's Buy One, Get One half off. Buy a bedroom set, get a sofa half off. The list goes on and on. Shop today and save. Same-day pickup or delivery. Shop My Carl's in the New Hartford Shopping Center and Destiny USA. New York State Police releasing the results of their annual Click It or Ticket enforcement campaign, and it yielded some very large numbers in regions across the state of New York. In fact, state police issued over 38,000 tickets from Monday, May 22nd through Sunday, June 4th. Now, bear with me here for a minute because I'm trying to pull the numbers here on this case, in these cases. Bill, State police actually issued more tickets for speeding than they did for seatbelts in the Click It or Ticket campaign. All told, there were over 38,000 citations written, 399 arrests for DWI, 2,400 crashes over that period, including 2 fatal accidents. Officials broke down the numbers by region. There are 11, including Troop T, which covers the entire New York State Thruway. Troop T issued the most tickets for the Move Over law. Here in central New York, we were second for the most seatbelt tickets. That includes Herkimer, Oneida, Madison, Onondaga, Oswego, Lewis, and Jefferson County. You can see more of those numbers on our website at WIBX950.com. There is a resolution in the criminal case that was brought against the former principal at Notre Dame Junior-Senior High School in Utica. Roy Kane was accused of third-degree grand larceny after questions arose about several $1,000s in funding reimbursements. He had said the money was to pay back out-of-pocket expenses for various improvements and upkeep to the school and its athletic fields. However, the dispute was over expenses that he could not provide receipts for. In court on Thursday, the criminal charge against Kane was dismissed after his attorney offered to plead guilty to a violation of trespass and make restitution payments to the school and the diocese. And Oneida County DA Scott McNamara telling WIBX that satisfied the school and the diocese, so they agreed to that deal. Kane issued a statement to WIBX saying he was extremely proud of his contributions and accomplishments spanning 2 decades in support of Notre Dame students, faculty, and staff, and the parent community. He says his family and he now look forward to moving on and their post-retirement journey. You can read more on this story on our website at WIBX950.com. Well, the air quality situation much better today and the second half of yesterday than it had been for the previous 2 days. Still an air quality alert in place. That will continue until midnight tonight. Still concerns about particulates and chemicals in the air because of the wildfires that are burning in Canada. Smoke from those blazes has settled over the central New York region and forced residents to be indoors much of the time over the last couple of days. The good news, though, is the air quality is expected to improve today, much more so than we saw on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. But once again, that advisory is still in place until midnight tonight. What else do we have here? State police releasing the results of the Click It or Ticket campaign. Again, you can get those numbers on our website, WIBX950.com. And Mega Millions this weekend, Bill, $500 million on the line. The Mega Millions jackpot has reached $240 million ahead of tonight's drawing. And the Powerball tomorrow night is at $308 million. It's $2 a ticket. And again, both of those are streamed online.
Which one do you want? Do you want Mega Millions or do you think Powerball's the way to go?
I'd take $20 and not play either one of them. But I'm going to say, what's the one where you got to get the six?
$308 million, as you said, and $240 million on Mega Millions.
I think I would do Mega Millions. You have to get every single one in either case if you're going to win the big prize. Yeah.
You have to get all of them. Yeah, that's the deal. I am just going on my handy dandy app here called I forgot what the app is.
Pocket?
Jack Pocket. And I just ordered us I ordered us a ticket. $2 quick pick.
Hey, thank you.
Having this so close and so easy,
yeah,
it's dangerous, but
yes.
Luckily I have my wife watching over me every second. Otherwise, I'd be spending all my money on New York lottery.
Supporting education. Significant improvement in the air quality over the last couple of days. Here's what we can expect later today.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint to the WIBX Weather Center. Today, cool, scattered showers, some limited smoke or light haze at times, but nothing like the past couple days, a high of 67. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy, low of 48. Tomorrow, not as cool, an isolated shower, but mainly dry and turning brighter. Some light smoke returns again late in the day, a high near 75. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Right now, we have 51 degrees at 7:09. All right, in sports, the Mets suffered probably the most brutal loss of the season so far. They blew a big lead against the Atlanta Braves I think this was the third time in the series, and the Braves do complete a 3-game sweep with a walk-off 3-run home run. David Robertson blew his second save attempt of the season, and Tommy Hunter suffered the loss after allowing that 3-run walk-off. Brandon Nimmo had a grand slam for the Mets, and Francisco Alvarez went deep twice. New York now fourth in the division at 30-33. They've lost 6 straight games. They visit the Pirates for the start of a 3-game series beginning tonight. The Mets have to be deflated after that 13-10 defeat in Atlanta last night. The Yankees split their double dip against the White Sox yesterday. They dropped the first game 6-5. Michael King was charged with the loss, allowing 2 runs over 2 innings of relief. Willie Calhoun went 2 for 4 with a 2-run homer and 3 RBIs. And then the Bombers went on to shut out the White Sox 3-0 in the second game of the day. Yankees 37-27. They begin a 3-game series against the Red Sox tonight. The Jets were one of several teams affected by the Canadian wildfire smoke yesterday. New York, along with the Washington Commanders and Philadelphia Eagles, were forced to move practice indoors because of the smoky conditions. The smoke from more than 100 active wildfires burning along the U.S.-Canadian border has traveled south into several states, and certainly it's something that we've talked about quite a bit here. What else do I need to mention? Coming up this weekend, the Belmont Stakes will be a last-minute decision. Not clear if horses will be given the green light to run. Governor Kathy Hochul says it's going to be a last-minute decision. This comes as the state has instituted enhanced measures to protect both the horses and the spectators. The NHL Stanley Cup Finals last night, the Panthers get on the board. They scored a 3-2 overtime victory against Las Vegas. However, the Golden Knights still lead the best-of-7 series 2-1. Game 4 of the NBA Finals tips off in Miami coming up tonight.
Richard says it looks like the wind patterns are going to bring it back soon, the smoke, unfortunately.
Oh, great.
The fires are raging out of control, still worse now than ever in Canada. Thursday canceled at Belmont, but today and Saturday look like they are in trouble. And I don't think he's necessarily wrong there. I don't think we're done with the smoke and the smog. But we are right now. It looks pretty nice out there right now. And Joe this morning says, I'm a big Braves fan and baseball purist as yourself and truly believe the game is being played today. The game that's being played today is horrible. What's your take on this? With that said, the Mets brought Buck Showalter in to manage and have tied his hands behind his back, basing every decision in a critical game on analytics.
All right, so I will agree with the second half of that. I don't think the game is worse now than ever before.
Showalter will eventually be the scapegoat, which is a shame. The Braves, like all teams, also use analytics, but the manager's still able to override if there's a situation where it needs to be ignored. I enjoy hearing, I hear it all from Stefan. He's a huge Mets fan. And maybe he's a Braves fan, too. I think as Stefan's a Mets fan. Nonetheless, that was just last night. It wasn't analytics last night. I don't believe. Last night so was either. The Mets just have a bullpen problem. Mm-hmm. And even their starter, Verlander, couldn't get it done yesterday. So, and you're talking about a team that is really, the negativity is in their heads really badly. So even when they're scoring, and if you think it was bad before last night's outcome, it's got to be worse today going into Pittsburgh. So I just feel like they don't, without Diaz, the Mets are in trouble right now. They do not have the relief pitching to make this work. I mean, clearly, the bats were swinging last night. They were scoring runs last night. Yeah. You can't say they weren't. But it just was, man, you just knew he was going to give up that home run. And
they blew a lead in every game of that series as they got swept by
They had at least a 3-run lead in all 3 of those games and blew it. So I think what the Mets need to do, and has nothing to do with analytics, maybe it does, I think they got to make some moves and bring in some pitchers. They say they're looking at Edwin Diaz's brother as a possibility. Yeah.
So did you see, and we didn't talk about this the day the news broke, but DeGrom. Did you see that news?
Terrible. He was crying. I felt so
Was
bad
he?
for him. Yeah, it was terrible.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, during the press conference. Yeah,
I didn't see
he
that.
broke down.
I just
and
read
he was
about
like,
it.
He broke down, and it's like, I want to pitch, and he's one of the greatest pitchers of our time, and he can't seem to get out of the fourth inning, and he can't seem to get a half a season in, and he's going to have surgery all over again. It's terrible. All right, I got a break. Lines are ringing, Jeff. We have Ryan Schmelz coming right up. Quick break, though, before you walk away. It's 7:14 at WIBX.
At AmeriQ Credit Union, we believe real connections matter, today more than ever. Whether it's connecting you to the right solutions to achieve your goals, new technology to make banking easier, or a real person to help you succeed, we'll be here. In person, online, or anywhere in between. Creating meaningful connections that make you feel like you belong. AmeriQ and you. Let's connect. Membership restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair. Great service at a great price. Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair welcomes you to the grand opening of their brand new state-of-the-art facility located on East Chestnut Street in Rome. A grand opening celebration will be held at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair on Wednesday, June 14th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Come and meet and take a photo with Mario Andretti, one of the most winning racers of all time. Mario Andretti is a Formula One, IndyCar, World Sports Car Championship, and NASCAR winner. An Indy display card will be on site for photos along with food and special offers. Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair grand opening celebration Wednesday, June 14th from 1 to 4 p.m. East Chestnut Street in Rome.
All the talk, all the time.
The people of this country need to educate right now.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/FREE. ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Hey, when Bill and Robin Monjo of River Hills Properties began their real estate agency, probably close to 15 years ago now, they had one mission, and that was, how do we, they asked the question, how do we separate ourselves from everybody else? And that mission became, let's just be different. Let's offer things that no one else offers here. The book, 40 to 100 pages, filled with everything about it. It's the manual of the home. Perfect tool if you're looking to buy a property. And a perfect tool, if you do buy it, it becomes the manual for the house. Your listing agent needs to be high in service. Every step of the way, relieve the stress. Help your customer every step of the way. Earn that commission. That's the River Hills way. And they do. They come and are present at every event that occurs. Everything from the inspection, appraisal, to every single time the house is shown, your listing agent is there to answer questions, turns the lights on, make sure everything is perfect, your best foot forward every single time you show the home. You put all of this together, all of this customer service together, and they work hard for that commission that everybody gets. But the River Hills listing agent just works harder for you. Why wouldn't you list with River Hills in Barneville, Little Falls, Utica, and serving all of upstate New York? River Hills Properties, LLC.com. Call 315-896-1009. Remember, nobody sells homes like River Hills Properties.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, Ryan Schmelz is with us from Fox News. Ryan, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Friday.
So I know you're in D.C., right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. How's the haze and the smoke been over there?
It was pretty rough yesterday. It was kind of hard for me to kind of evaluate it this morning because it's still very early. But I'll probably head out if I head over to the Capitol here in a little bit and kind of see if it's gotten any better. But it looks the New York pictures look better.
Significantly better.
I got to tell you something.
Upstate New York, anyway.
I walked to the mailbox and felt like I smoked a pack of cigarettes. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah, yesterday I walked from the Capitol to our office building, and I had a headache. I'm not sure if that was because I was dehydrated or because I had breathed in smoke, but I was kind of – it was interesting, to say the least.
I find it one of those things where you're like, this is happening to me. I wonder if it's because of the smoke. Like my eyes are burning. Yeah. My eyes are burning. I don't know. Is it the smoke that's causing it? Well, there's a test you can say. So you're driving down the road. Your car does have filters. There's no doubt about it to clean the air as it's coming in. But if you're behind, let's say a diesel tractor trailer, you're going to smell in traffic. You're going to smell that diesel smoke in your car. Yeah. So that smoke that's out there is coming into your car. It just is. So, all right. There's an old saying. It's called blank or get off the pot. What are we going to do here with this Biden thing? I mean, there's only so long this can be cover for the investigation into Trump. They got to make an indictment. Something's got to happen, or what? Do we move on, or we just keep going with this story? What is the latest? What do we know?
Yeah, right. So I guess where we can go with the latest is that Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, as well as Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, were threatening to hold FBI Director Christopher Wray on contempt of Congress charges, and the House Oversight Committee was actually scheduled to vote on those charges yesterday, but ultimately they decided to cancel the hearing after they were provided the document that they were asking for from the FBI. And that document is, and you're going to have to remember this, it's going to be a pop quiz, it's SD 1023. And based off what the GOP has said, it's a document that relates to the allegation that President Biden, when he was vice president, allegedly was paid by a foreign national in exchange for policy decisions.
Well, that is impeachable. Right?
If he did it, they've got to prove it first, obviously.
That's my point.
If in fact that's an issue. But also this was when he was vice president, not when he was officially president. So there's a lot of moving parts here.
I would say whether he was vice president or president, that would be something that would be impeachable. But back to my initial phrase, blank or get off the pot. I mean, they've either got something and they have the evidence or they don't. I think... just like in the Trump case, you've either got something or you don't. And, going after Trump, I really feel like they had better have something really strong to indict a former president. And I think the same thing would hold true here. But, man, this has gone through a Republican administration and nothing happened. William Barr had the opportunity to do something if it was there. Let's just do it if it's there. Let's prove it if it's there.
Yeah, and a couple points to also make, too, is that President Biden actually took some questions after his joint press conference with Rishi Sunak, the UK Prime Minister, and he was asked about this, where apparently Nancy Mace made allegations and said that there's evidence there that President Biden, quote, sold out the American people, and President Biden pretty much said that's malarkey. And also, I think with kind of how you were tying this in with Trump, we've seen former President Trump raised a substantial amount of money for his presidential election off of the allegations against him. And I remember asking Byron Donalds, who's a Freedom Caucus member and also on the Oversight Committee, after they initially rolled out some of the details on this investigation, I asked him, well, are you concerned that this could come back politically and bite you because you've seen what President Trump's able to do off of these allegations? Could President Biden do the same thing? And he was kind of like, well, we don't really look at the politics side of this. We're pretty much seeing if the president's, committing any type of crimes here. That's the point.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of different aspects to that, but certainly whether or not what this does politically is a question.
It does show you that, we've seen so many examples of how government doesn't work. The two-party system, you have one party going after the other party going after the other party. Nobody wants to get anything done because it makes the other party look good. But you know what? It's all part of checks and balances. And if there's something there on Biden, then they should act on it. And I wish it would have been done earlier. But if you can't prove it, it doesn't exist. And that's on both sides. That's on Trump and it's on Biden here.
Yeah, and we'll obviously learn more details after these members view the document that they're going to be allowed to see. And then one thing we should probably also add is that Chairman Comer, as well as the highest-ranking Democrat on this committee, which is Jamie Raskin, they'll both be able to view 2 more additional documents. Obviously, we don't know much about those documents other than what the details we've been given so far.
Yeah.
And it's probably a good chance we might never know. But ultimately, they'll be able to view them, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, listen, I hope the winds keep the smoke away from you. And, hey, you have a wonderful weekend with plenty of blue skies.
Yeah, I hope the air is clear in New York and everyone can breathe happily this weekend and have a good time.
Hard to believe that's what our wishful thinking is for the weekend, but it is. All right, Ryan, thank you as always. Have a great weekend.
You too. See you later.
All right. I just want to say that that to me, that's how we should be looking at this. Not that, Biden says he's innocent, so he's innocent. Trump says it's a witch hunt, so it's a witch hunt. It should be looked at very simply. If there's evidence and they broke the law and they violated the public's trust, either one of them, then something should be done. There should be no protecting because of politics. And that's how I feel like we should all be looking at it, as opposed to everybody digs in and they're like, "Well, my guy's innocent."
Yeah, it's all my team. Your
it's all
team.
you're trying to you're just trying to, you're just trying to discredit my guy. If it's there, do it. If not, how about legislating?
Yeah, come to an agreement on something. Get your job done. If you looked at the amount of money, we had joked before about, not joked before, but talked before about how much money it costs to get a mile of subway in New York City redone or to be built compared to other parts of the world, and it's a staggering amount. But if you looked at how much money is spent on government, just salaries and keeping the lights on in the Capitol and all these other things, and what is actually accomplished for our investment there,
yeah, you gotta
because
wonder.
they don't agree on anything.
Yeah,
I think that would actually be an even more staggering number.
Staggering, scary, all of that, right?
Staggering, and I wasn't even talking about the president.
We'll dig into some local politics coming up, Rome and Utica.
Yes.
We'll start with Utica with the Republican candidate, Bob Cardillo, who is running for mayor. And I've had a chance to drive around through many parts of the city. A lot of signs out there. I don't feel like signs are a sign of anything, except that you've got enough money to get signs out there. It means absolutely nothing. But it is nice to see who's got what. I think can I just give you my assessment?
Yeah, what do you mean who's got what?
Lanigan has signs. Mayor Izzo has signs. You've got very interesting, I'm just going to be honest. I think that Celeste Friend, she should have had a professional picture taken. If you look at her, she has billboards on and signs all over the place.
It's like a Facebook picture.
You could have had a better picture. I mean, if you're going to put the money into those ads, get a decent picture. I'm sorry, Celeste. It's just how I see it. Who else is running? Oh,
Frank DeBrango. Yeah,
DeBrango. I've seen his signs. They are what they are. And the same thing with Cardillo, and the same thing with who else is running?
Galimi.
Galimi's are what I would expect. His are a bit on the artsy side. But let's not forget the guy plays an instrument, right? But so does Bob Cardillo. But that's more like he's got like a sign that looks like it comes from a political drummer. That's what he is. But the prettiest sign of all out there is in Utica, in the streets of Utica. Frank Miola's signs are the prettiest.
Really?
You got to check them out. His picture's up there. It looks quite. I'm not sure that's what I would expect out of Frank Miola. Now, what does all of this mean? Absolutely nothing, to be honest. I don't think it means anything. At the end of the day, you'll be able to hear from these candidates, and you'll have preconceived ideas about these candidates, and you'll fill in the bubble on primary day, or I really hope you fill in the bubble on primary day. We oftentimes have a difficulty getting people out. But at the end of the day, hopefully it's what they say, what their reputation is, what they would be willing to do, and what you feel they'll do going forward for your city that makes all the difference in the world.
No, Bill, it's
That's
my
my
party and
diatribe.
my party only.
It could be. That might be it.
And there's no excuse not to get out. I mean, with the early voting, right? When doesn't that begin? The 17th?
The
19th?
17th to the 25th, you're going to be able to early vote. And then on the 27th, you'll have from noon until 9 p.m. in most places to vote on primary day. So there's no excuse to not get out there and vote. And your vote does count. It really, really does. The Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills is accepting new patients. In fact, Dr. Shemolewski made it clear, if you need some medical attention to be able to get out and vote, come to the Falcon Clinic. They'll put you into tip-top shape so that you're able to get out there and fill in that bubble. And chances are with early voting, you won't have to wait in line, which could really hurt your back. The Falcon Clinic is there for you to keep you up and ready to go and getting out there to vote. Sleep issues, fatigue, pain, ADHD. You're in need of a family doctor. Counseling, acupuncture, all under one roof at the Falcon Clinic. We've heard from people. I have one friend who says she had issues, and it was pain issues, and she went from place to place to place, and no one could seem to figure it out. She thought she was going to have to close her small business because she was in so much pain. After going to the Falcon Clinic, she said her life changed. They were able to dig in, and using an osteopathic approach combined with the medicines of today, they were able to correct her problem. And today her business continues to be extremely viable out there, and she is a big part of it because she's feeling better. It's the Falcon Clinic. Reach out today. Call 315-507-4751 for the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills.
The Community Foundation of Herkimer and Oneida Counties is your community foundation. Together, we've invested $125 million in the community, thanks to people, families, and businesses that want to give back and build a brighter future. And you don't have to have big bucks to make a big difference. Join us as we invest in the future of our community. Learn more about your community foundation at foundationhoc.org.
I can't take this kitchen any longer. Carl, we need to start looking for a new house.
Honey, you know the housing market is tight. It's going to be next to impossible to find something that we like.
I know, but this kitchen has to go.
Hey, what about a home equity loan from Adirondack Bank? We can turn the equity from our home into cash to renovate, just the way you want.
Renovate?
Adirondack Bank has competitive rates, and they've been a trusted community bank for decades.
A new kitchen. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Then, of course, we would need new furniture, and we could repair the deck, even add a pool, and take that trip to Italy that we've always talked about.
Whoa, slow down, honey. Let's go talk to the experts at Adirondack Bank about that home equity loan. Then we can decide where to start.
I've always wanted to add on a craft room, and our bathroom needs a facelift.
Don't move. Improve. Stop into your local Adirondack Bank branch for more information on a home equity loan or visit AdirondackBank.com. Bank local with Adirondack Bank, your hometown community bank. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
In the June primary, Rome Mayor Jackie Izzo was running to keep steady strategic leadership working for Rome. Like 6 years and counting with no tax increase, $70 million in grant funding, $325 million in public and private sector investment, plus dozens of economic development victories, all while maintaining an A-plus financial rating. Beginning with early voting on June 17th, vote for the only endorsed Republican candidate. Vote Mayor Jackie Izzo for Rome. Leadership that's working. Paid for by friends of Jackie Izzo.
Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair. Great service at a great price.
Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair welcomes you to the grand opening of their brand new state-of-the-art facility located on East Chestnut Street in Rome. A grand opening celebration will be held at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair on Wednesday, June 14th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Come and meet and take a photo with Mario Andretti, one of the most winning racers of all time. Mario Andretti is a Formula One, IndyCar, World Sports Car Championship, and NASCAR winner. An Indy display card will be on site for photos along with food and special offers. Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair grand opening celebration Wednesday, June 14th from 1 to 4 p.m. East Chestnut Street in Rome.
Hey,
all the time.
The people of this country need to educate right now.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Stable flooring. That's what we're always looking for, right? Flooring, whether you're into hardwoods or vinyl or carpeting, tile, whatever flooring you're looking for. And there's, of course, Pergo Extreme, Sal, and everybody at Sarah's Flooring today and this weekend are ready to take care of you. Make this weekend the weekend you get out and look at this huge inventory that they have at Sarah's Flooring Outlet. Right now, there's a $50 off coupon off your next $500 or more purchase. You can get that off their website, sarahsflooringoutlet.com. And you can also get 6 months interest-free financing right now. If it's flooring you're looking for, it's Sarah's Flooring Outlet. Let's just talk a bit about the Pergo Extreme. This is an amazing product, so much better than the early stuff that was out there. This is durable. It is a deep protection, waterproof, dent-proof, kid-proof, pet-proof. It'll last. And it's available at Sarah's, where they have the 60-mile price guarantee. It's a 60-mile radius of the store. They guarantee the price of any Pergo Extreme product, and it's a 60-mile radius of the store. They guarantee to meet or beat that price, period, at Sarah's Flooring Outlet. 6 months interest-free financing in Sarah's, Route 49, Plaza, River Road, Marcy, and, of course, online 24/7 at sarahsflooringoutlet.com. Coming up, before you go anywhere, I just want to, we'll do the free money question coming up in a second, and then Bob Cardillo is coming in. Manaski has a quick update, 7:36 now at WIBX.
All right, thank you, Bill. We have still a light rain, 51 degrees. WIBX News Time is 7:36, an air quality alert continuing until midnight tonight. However, as we discussed this morning, the conditions are significantly better than they were on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. Well, New York City is still dealing with the terrible environmental conditions, recording the worst urban air quality in the world on Thursday. The air monitoring website IQ Air had New York at number 1 worldwide, thanks to the Canadian wildfire smoke that's been blanketing much of the eastern U.S. and, of course, New York State as a whole. Conditions are likely to remain unhealthy until the wind changes direction or until those wildfires are put out. Former President Trump's biggest rival is blasting the charges against him in a new indictment over the handling of classified documents. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says the charges are the weaponization of federal law enforcement. Trump is reportedly indicted on 7 federal charges related to classified documents at his Florida property. That news, though, coming directly from the former president. A testimony is scheduled to resume Monday in the Tree of Life Synagogue massacre. Jurors on Thursday heard from a forensics expert testifying for the prosecution in the capital murder trial against Robert Bowers. Bowers accused of killing 11 worshipers at the Pittsburgh synagogue in October of 2018. Delta is paying back a group of customers who claimed they didn't get their money back on flights that were canceled during the pandemic. The Atlanta-based airline recently agreed to a settlement payment of cash refunds plus interest. Eligible customers must have booked a flight between March 1st, 2020 and April 30th of 2021. The opening bell rings this morning on Wall Street after stocks closed higher on Thursday. Investors appear to be in the holding pattern as they wait on the Federal Reserve's upcoming policy meeting this month. That takes place June 13th through the 14th and will come as inflation seems to be cooling even as it remains above the federal government's 2% target. And a federal court is ruling that playing explicit music in the workplace could be grounds for claiming sexual harassment. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals this week ruled on a case where owners of a warehouse allowed employees to blast what they called sexually graphic, violently misogynistic music while working. The Ninth Circuit ruled that harassment needed to be directly targeted at a particular plaintiff in order to pollute a workplace. WIBX News Time is 7:39. Your forecast is brought to you by Cliff's Local Market. They keep you going. We turn now to Eyewitness News for what we can expect later today.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flynn to the WIBX Weather Center. Today, cool, scattered showers, some limited smoke or light haze at times, but nothing like the past couple days, a high of 67. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy, low of 48. Tomorrow, not as cool, an isolated shower, but mainly dry and turning brighter. Some light smoke returns again late in the day, a high near 75. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Maybe some light rain depending on your location. Seems to be dry right now in Marcy. We have 52 degrees, Bill. It is 7:40.
You know, some are saying they're looking out at clouds and fog and that sort of thing. And who knows, is that fog the smog and the smoke, or is it fog? Others are looking at some breaks of clear skies this morning. I think the closer you are to the river and into the valley and the barge canal, the more you're going to get the clouds. But, yeah, in some places they're getting a little bit of rain. We have finally gotten some nice, in the last 24 hours, some nice steady rain.
Yes.
My lawn's still dry, still brown.
Of course,
It'll take a while, but it's really something that was needed, a more steady rain.
So it seemed like yesterday, at least here for much of the day, there was a light drizzle. Like it would start to rain. You could hear it, dink, dink, dink on the car. And then all of a sudden it would just kind of slowly stop again. And that happened a couple times yesterday afternoon. And then there was a light rain. I let my dog out, and she didn't care that it was raining. And then all of a sudden I heard her scratching at the door because then it started coming down.
All right, let's do our free money question of the day from the Hobica Law Firm. Now, beware this morning. Beware. Be easy on Jeff. He's answering the phones. Davey is off this morning. We'll be looking. I'll make it easy on you. We're looking for caller number 3 this morning. Third caller. And let's end the week in a good way, giving away Hobica's money. We've been pretty good with that. In fact, June has been a month where we're just giving it away at will. Third caller through the lines right now. Your chance to win from Hobica and WIBX, 315-736-0186. Third caller right now.
On behalf of IBEW Local 43 Union Electricians and the NECA Contractor, we are pleased to partner with Syracuse University in providing our members with an opportunity to enhance their education at this great university.
Syracuse University's partnership with the IBEW will provide talented students the opportunity to advance their careers while shaping the future of the electrical trades and the industries they serve.
Central New York's future is bright, and the IBEW Local 43 and NECA will continue to help light, power, and grow Central New York.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
This is Harry G., the heat pump expert from Country Suburban. When your state planning to eliminate fossil fuels, heat pumps are the wave of the future. Heat pumps can save you up to 30% or more on your heating and cooling bills. Right now, you can receive up to $20,000 in heat pump incentives. Call 315-735-5300 for a free estimate.
Offer good while funds are available.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, you're starting to speak another language.
Babbel's lessons are voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no better way than
Babbel.
Text radio to 64,000 to try Babbel for free. Text radio to 64,000.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Little song I was singing to myself as we were coming in this morning. I love to give away. A bike is money, and we're about to do it right now, I think. Gary in Rome is our contestant. Hello, Gary. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Bill.
All right, Gary, I feel like you're gonna pull this off. I feel this is a good question for you. Are you ready?
I am.
You're gonna have 7 seconds to answer, and here we go. Today's category is in the category of music. Music, and that's a good category for you, I feel, Gary.
All right.
Okay, all right. You're not as confident as I am, apparently.
He's going to take your word for it.
Here we go. You'll remember the 80s, 90s artist Sheila E., legendary musician who became famous with Prince and then as a solo artist. What instrument did she play? Ready, go.
Bass guitar.
Was she a bass guitarist? Bob Cardillo, what instrument did she play?
Guitar's too obvious, so I'm going to say she played the organ.
Bob, take it personally. Think about it. What instrument?
She's a drummer.
She's a drummer.
Thank you.
Bob is
I never knew that.
Yeah, Bob is also a drummer. Yeah, she was like, in fact, if you look up the list of the greatest drummers of all time, Sheila E. is almost always on that list. I mean, she was really, really good. So.
Wow.
Okay.
I even remember her on the Miami Vice show.
That's right.
We should give him a bike as money anyway.
We should just give it away.
Come on, Joe.
All right. We'll give you the food and fun cards, $25 gift card, good at Aquavino, Babes, 72, Taylor and the Cook, and all the concession stands over there. We'll mail that to you, and you'll have to hook him up.
Yes.
Stand by. Did you already get his info?
I got his info, and we'll mail him the card.
We're going to mail you the card.
Is that how that works?
We'll mail it to you, Gary. All right? Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Bill. You guys have a good day.
You do
too.
the same. Thank you. Stay clear of the smoke. Bob Cardillo, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
I'll let you comment on that. What craziness. I picked that question just for you because you're a drummer.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
was going to say, I didn't.
What?
I didn't know that. I had no idea.
I've been playing since I was like 6 years old.
That's awesome. Yeah. I did not know that.
Yeah, and you like
kids all over the place. Great.
Did you say kids or kids all over the place? Kids. Okay.
Kids. No. I got 2 kids, and you know that.
That was funny. So that's
you
cool.
Guys are around. No, I've been playing for a long time.
Yes.
Matter of fact, Dean Demore, who you're
working
and I
with,
play with,
yeah.
Play together. So.
And what does he play?
He's a good guitar player. He's a very good
Dean's
guitar
taste in music would shock you.
Yeah.
Former chief of staff for Sherry Bowler.
Yeah.
Dean's taste. Dean is a big fan of heavy metal.
Yeah, he's heavy metal. I mean, he took me to a Judas Priest concert. And I was never a Judas Priest fan. Not that I wasn't a fan. I never really followed him. We went to Ottawa a few years ago. I got to tell you, I enjoyed it. And he said, I want you to see this because you play like that drummer. And I said, well, maybe I'm a heavy metal drummer. Maybe
after all.
Because I grew up in the 60s, 70s.
Please tell me you did not go to that show dressed in the 3-piece suit.
No, I did not.
Okay, just checking.
I did not. No, I actually had a pair of jeans on, if you can believe that.
I can believe it. All right. Anything further?
No, I didn't know that, and I think that's a great thing. I'm always jealous of those who play instruments because I never learned how to play one. So
if you're watching on YouTube Live, I've got a nice Bob. Just lean into me just a little bit here, just over here.
Okay.
Just imagine Bob at a Judas Priest concert, just while you're looking at him on YouTube Live. You can picture
it. It's a good one.
It's
a good one.
All right, Robert, good morning. We're getting close. Here we are less than 10 days away from early voting, and we're working on a debate between you and Mr. Galimi. Where do you stand right now, and have you convinced the people that they need to vote for you in the upcoming Republican primary?
Well, we've been working hard since November. We started when I announced my candidacy in November. As you know, I've been talking about issues. I carry my my 3-ring binder here with all the issues that we've talked about and the releases that we put together. I've been knocking on doors. Well, I can't say since November. But since February in that nice cold weather when we had to go get petitions. I've been knocking on doors. We continue to. I have to admit, the last couple days, my son said to me, "You're not going out in this stuff because you're not going to breathe."
Yeah, this is so. It is. I don't know. People are getting the feel that I've spoken with, this feel of the same feel we had during COVID for a little while. I mean, it was looking like that. When was this thing going to let up? And I'm not sure.
I think it's a little. I don't know.
It's better today.
Although
so
now
far.
Because it's not, the sun's not out.
Right.
When the sun, hopefully, when the sun comes out, I think it'll help it a lot. But those colors were incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it did. It looked like the pictures that they show you from the moon. It's weird,
crazy. What are people telling you as you're out there on the streets?
I have to tell you that I'm so pleased because it's been very positive. Folks have been talking to me about issues that we've talked about, talking about crime, talking about continuing the economic development, and that they believe that my background in economic development is strong. They talk about how I feel about the position. That I will do it on a full-time basis, and that's my commitment, 1,000% commitment to just doing that. Although I'll still play drums.
You will?
Still,
right.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
And I still will take care of my grandchild.
And maybe still go to a Judas Priest concert?
Maybe. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Maybe we'll bring Judas Priest here. How's
okay,
that?
all right.
That would be a lot of fun.
That would be something.
At the odd, that'd be great. So, but people have been really receptive. And I have to say this. I've had people say to me, you smile all the time. I said, look, man, why not? That's what life's all about. I've been blessed in my life, and I'm excited about doing this. People have been very supportive and very, very kind to me. So I'm having fun. I mean, I really am. I'm having fun. I mean, you and I know we did this together 11 years ago.
Yep.
I wasn't having fun 11 years ago. I'm having fun.
Yeah, all right.
People have been great. We're having fun. We're doing good things.
Manaski.
We hear a lot of talk about the surplus, the perpetual surpluses, I guess, over the last several years in Utica. What do you make of that? The COVID money is kind of going away now. What do you think about the city's financial status moving forward? And do you have anything, I guess, different or out of the box that you plan to bring to the table in that regard?
Well, I've talked about this during the campaign. It was one of my positions when I talked about the financial issues. You're absolutely correct. The COVID money is gone. I mean, as of the end of this year, it's use or lose. You got to spend it or you lose it. And we've been able to do a lot of really good things with COVID money. Those dollars are not going to be available. There will be other opportunities in federal infrastructure money. The exact number, don't quote me, but it's in the billions of dollars for infrastructure money that I think we're going to be able to tap here. I think my experience in
I have to tell you, it's currently being tapped everywhere you go.
Oh,
there's
absolutely.
construction. Yeah,
absolutely, and it's great to see it.
I
But
guess,
we need to continue some of that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
But it's not going to be as easy because you don't have the COVID dollars flowing. But there is going to be more federal dollars available, and I think we need to tap that. As far as the fund balance goes, I think it's important. Obviously, that we have one because before, Rob took office almost 12 years ago, we were in real bad financial shape. I give him credit for getting us to the point of being in good financial order. We need to maintain some of that. I know people have talked about, well, what do you do about taxes? Look, we're in New York State. They tax the living daylights out of us, no matter what it is, whether it's the New York State income tax, whatever it is. And I think that if there's an opportunity, and I can't guarantee anything, but if there's an opportunity to be able to give the taxpayer, particularly the homeowner, because that's the burden of the taxes, a break in their taxes, I think we should consider it. But if we can't, we can't. But I certainly know that we have to hold the line in terms of tax increases. I think it's ludicrous to even think about doing that.
With COVID money going away, and I only mention that because it's kind of like extra money, surplus money, how would you be able to lower taxes?
Well, COVID money, remember, COVID money has been used for development. It's not used for the general fund.
Right.
All right? So,
which means it's not a part of the budget.
Right. It's not a part of the budget. Correct. So that's not going to affect whether you can or you can't. The revenue streams are what's going to be important. I saw some numbers the other day. It was Monday night. We had a forum in East Utica, and I saw some of the numbers with regard to sales tax revenue. It's really gone up. So the more economic development we do and the more opportunities come downtown, you're going to continue to get some additional sales tax money. You've got state money that will come in. My concern is this. This is the big concern. No economist can tell you exactly where we're going. We're inflation. We're not inflation. We're going to be inflation with full employment. I mean, all of this stuff is brand new. Nobody knows. There isn't an economist that you talk to that can come up with a straight answer or agree on anything. I watch a lot of the business programs. I get up in the morning, I turn on Squawk Box because I want to see what's going on, right? And that's going to be the dilemma that I think we could potentially face. Not in 23, 24, but late 24 and beyond, we could have a problem if the federal government cuts back, because what they do is it passes it down to the states, and then the states pass it down to us. So that's where we've got to be very, very careful. We've got to be prudent, and we've got to have budgets that are reasonable.
Story recently out of, you were talking about the fund balance and the importance of having a good fund balance. Story out of Syracuse, where there's software that's used, provided by the state, where they put their budget together. And there was a mistake somehow made where a business property, and I forgot which property it was, but there were two properties in Syracuse that were listed as, it was St. Joseph's Hospital,
St. Joseph's Hospital
was listed as taxable, which was a multi-million-dollar mistake.
That's huge.
And had they caught it. They caught it, and it would have meant a plus over $5 million deficit in the budget, which would have meant big tax increase for residents in Syracuse out of nowhere. They were able to use the fund balance to offset that easily because they had a strong fund balance. It just shows you that rainy day fund, something, that you don't expect could happen.
Absolutely.
And having that money there can save your hide.
If you look at where we were 12 years ago, that was an issue because we didn't have a balance. And if, God forbid, anything happened, we weren't going to be able to take care of it. So
right. Okay.
Can you talk about things that you think, you mentioned that COVID money was a lot to do with development. Are there things that you felt like COVID money should have gone toward? What would you like to see the next thing being developed in Utica? What's the city missing?
I think all of the development that we've done downtown has been great. I even agree, like we did Obelston. Obelston's a great project. That was an eyesore. It would have gone to a wrecking ball. But here's where I think we need to take a look. We need to take a look at the neighborhoods. I mentioned this a couple of times. When we did this clean day on a Saturday, it was about a month ago now, I think. And we did some work in Proctor Park with my team. And then we went over and helped the people over at Hurd Park in West Utica. I'm there, and there's syringes with needles in them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the focus has to be on the neighborhoods. And focus and those are kids. Those kids are playing in that park, and what are they looking at? Needles, syringes with needles in them. So I think some of this money could have gone to some of those things. And that's where I think we could focus and concentrate on changing a little bit more toward neighborhoods.
But you mean just like a cleanup in the park type?
No, not a cleanup. I'm talking about, new equipment. Let's put it this way. I'm an animal lover. I don't have a dog because I don't think it'd be fair to the pet because I'm not home all the time. But when we spend the money that we spend on a dog park, why couldn't we take 10% of that and put it into some of these neighborhood parks for these kids? That's my theory. You know, it's not utilization of the dollars. The other thing we need to look at, and you know I live right near Proctor Park. I walk the park in the morning. They're building a shelter toward the back part of the park. And I look at it, and I'm like, geez, that's a beautiful facility. There's only one problem. It's hidden.
Yeah,
it's way in the back. In the back of it is the Masonic home. Now, if we're going to have people doing some bad things, whether it's drugs or whatever, it's way in the back, and it's not. To me, I would have put it closer to Culver Ave so that when the police is going by, they can kind of monitor what's going on. Now, they're going to be back there. Nobody's going to know what's going on until something happens. So I think that's some of the things that I think.
You are in agreement with to debate your opponent, Mr. Galimi, and we're working on a date. We'll get that together before early voting.
Yeah, I think next week. Sometime.
Anything else you want to add?
I just want to add, I want to thank the people of the city for welcoming me in their homes and in their hearts. It's been a really good experience. You guys have been great. Thank you. And I've enjoyed it. I really have. I've really enjoyed it.
We appreciate it, Bob. Thank you. Bob Cardillo and Mike Galimi facing off in the Republican primary just around the corner for mayor in the city of Utica. Mayor of Rome, Jackie Izzo facing Jeff Lanigan. Lanigan is in studio coming up next hour.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica, Rome, W295DI Utica, Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
Never happened before. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Donald Trump is the first former president ever to be indicted on federal charges.
It's election interference at the highest level. There's never been anything like what's happened. I'm an innocent man. I'm an innocent person.
He calls the charges related to classified documents found at his Florida resort a hoax.
Special counsel Jack Smith has not announced anything. Indictment news is coming from Trump himself, but potential charges include one count under the Espionage Act, obstruction of justice, destruction or falsification of records, and then conspiracy and false statements.
Fox's Peter Ducey at the White House, which the former president hopes to call home again. He's the 2024 Republican frontrunner. Some of his GOP rivals are coming to his defense. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says the Department of Justice is being weaponized against Trump, and Senator Tim Scott agrees.
You don't have to be a Republican to see injustice and want to fix it.
On the Democratic side, the ranking member on the House Oversight Committee, Jamie Raskin, issued a statement saying Trump put our national security in grave danger as he pursued yet another lawless personal agenda by pilfering and hoarding government documents.
As Fox's Jill Nato, President Biden's also under investigation for having classified documents in his personal records. He also laughs off as malarkey an allegation House Republicans are investigating that he may have been involved in bribes in Ukraine while vice president. Now, in Ukraine, at least 14 people are dead in the flooding from a dam collapse that's displaced thousands more. And officials say 2 more people were killed when Russia shelled a hospital in an area where Ukrainian troops have started a counteroffensive.
The largest known push is currently into Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia region in the southern part of the country. There are also additional efforts taking place in the eastern Donetsk region to recapture territory north of the city of Bakhmut.
That's Fox's Trey Yanks. The air is much cleaner in the northeast after days of wildfire smoke haze. America's listening to Fox News.
I've told you about my lower back pain and how kneeling in church on Sunday was becoming nearly unbearable. Sebastian Gorka here. I've also told you about how Relief Factor has helped almost eliminate my pain. Now, let me tell you what Robert in California says about his experience with Relief Factor. Robert writes, I didn't think Relief Factor was working until I ran out mid-month. After about 3 days, the pain was back to where it started. It was a great test for me to see how much Relief Factor really works. 3 weeks from now, you could be doing the things you enjoy doing and living the life you love. Your first step to becoming pain-free from aches and pains from daily living could be just to order the 3-week quick start for only $19.95. After trying Relief Factor, over 500,000 people have gone on to order more. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF to find out about this offer. That's ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Feel the difference with Relief Factor.
Bill, we have mostly cloudy skies, maybe some light rain depending on your location, and we are at 52 degrees. WIBX News Time is 8:03. This news update is brought to you by Clinton Tractor, the leader in service, celebrating 70 years in business, 3 generations and counting. You can visit them at clintontractor.net. A resolution in the criminal case that was brought against the former principal at Utica Notre Dame Junior-Senior High School. Roy Kane was accused of third-degree grand larceny after questions arose about several $1,000s in funding reimbursements. Kane had said the money was to pay back out-of-pocket expenses for various improvements and upkeep to the school and its athletic fields and amenities during the COVID-19 pandemic. However, the dispute was over expenses that he could not provide receipts for. In court on Thursday, the criminal charge against Kane was dismissed after his attorney offered to plead guilty to a violation of trespass and make a restitution payment to the school and diocese for the undocumented reimbursements. When reached by WIBX 950, Kane said he was thankful for the patience and professionalism of the judge, the DA's office, and his attorney, Carl Mann. He also said that he is extremely proud of his contributions and accomplishments spanning 2 decades in support of Notre Dame students, faculty and staff, and parents. He says he and his family are now looking forward to moving forward with their post-retirement journey. You can read more on this story on our website at WIBX950.com. A Mattydale daycare provider who pleaded guilty to killing a toddler has found out that she will spend almost 2 decades behind bars. Yesterday, a judge ordered 28-year-old Jessica Sims to spend the next 20 years in state prison. Prosecutors say that Sims swung a young child, Lennox Santiago, in the air, which led to the child hitting his head on a coffee table. She then lied to police about what happened. The child later died of the injuries several days later. An announcement on when country music superstar Chris Stapleton will be holding his rescheduled concert in Syracuse could be made later today. Stapleton was supposed to take the stage at the St. Joseph's Health Amphitheater in Lakeview last night, but Uncle Smitty was quite disappointed. Obviously, the show was postponed because of poor air quality. Those who have tickets for the performance will be able to use them on the new date. The next concert at the venue is coming up on June 15th, and it will be another country superstar, Luke Bryan. And we do still have an air quality advisory in place that continues until midnight tonight. Still concerned about particles and chemicals in the air from the wildfires burning in Canada. However, the conditions much of the day yesterday and so far today are significantly better than they were on Tuesday and Wednesday, and things are expected to continue to improve in the coming days. Here's what we can expect this afternoon.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint in the WIBX Weather Center. Today, cool, scattered showers, some limited smoke or light haze at times, but nothing like the past couple days, a high of 67. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy, low of 48. Tomorrow, not as cool, an isolated shower, but mainly dry and turning brighter. Some light smoke returns again late in the day, high near 75. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
We have some light rain in spots, 53 degrees. WIBX News Time is 8:07. You know, one of our listeners, Roger, said it's too bad. This has been kind of painful with the eye burning and some irritation for those with respiratory issues. He said it's too bad like a marijuana farm couldn't have caught fire. Everyone would be real happy.
That would be interesting, right?
It would be out there breathing heavy and everything else. Anyway, breathing heavy last night. The Mets choked one away once again. They were swept by the Braves. Last night's final 13-10 on a 3-run walk-off home run in the 10th inning after the Mets had a lead from the 2nd inning through the 9th inning. David Robertson blew his second save of the season, and Tommy Hunter took the loss, allowing that 3-run walk-off home run. Brandon Nimmo and Francisco Alvarez each went deep. Alvarez, in fact, had 2 homers last night. Nimmo's was a grand slam. Mets now 4th in the division at 30-33. They've lost 6 straight games. They visit the Pirates for the start of a 3-game series beginning tonight. The Yankees splitting a doubleheader against the White Sox yesterday. The Yankees dropped the first game 6-5. Michael King charged with the loss. In the second game, the Bombers went on to shut out Chicago by a final of 3-0. They're now 37-27, and they begin a 3-game series against the Red Sox coming up tonight. Sad news, though, or bad news, I should say. Another member of the Yankees starting rotation is headed to the injured list. Left-hander Nestor Cortez on the 15-day IL with a left rotator cuff strain. The move is retroactive to Monday. Cortez 5-2 so far this season with a 5.16 ERA in 11 starts. In a corresponding transaction, the Yankees recalled lefty Matt Crook from AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Crook is yet to make his major league debut. The Jets were one of several teams affected by the Canadian wildfires yesterday and the smoke. New York, along with the Washington Commanders and Philadelphia Eagles and other teams, were forced to move practice indoors because of the smoky conditions. The Game 4 of the NBA Finals is coming up tonight from Miami. The Denver Nuggets lead that series 2-1. Last night, the Carolina Panthers got on the board in the NHL Finals. They won 4-3 in overtime against the Las Vegas Knights, the Golden Knights. Vegas, though, still leads the best-of-7 series 2-1, and it's not clear if horses are going to get out and get the green light to race at the Belmont in New York this weekend because of the, again, Canadian wildfires and poor air quality. This comes with New York State instituting enhanced measures to protect horses and spectators. Governor Kathy Hochul says it's going to be a last-minute decision. As our man Wayne likes to say, we blamed everything on COVID for a while, and it seems like every other story I do, it's this got canceled, moved, or replaced because of the Canadian wildfires. And I think we'll all be happy to move on from this smoke and the lingering scent in the air pretty soon. But I guess the Belmont will be a last-minute decision tomorrow.
A couple of comments here. Mike says, I hope they get this smoke under control by the time the Boilermaker takes place. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
I think great economic development for downtown would be a bicycle shop. Okay.
Okay.
Right, because of the lanes, right? You've got a bike lane. You might as well have a bike shop.
It's not a bike lane.
Oh, it's not.
Sorry. It's an inmate escape safe space. I've said it 5 times already.
And we've seen that used for that very reason, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Wayne says, the shirt you're wearing looks like one of my chef jackets I got from Doctor Uniform. And yes, I like it. I do. I know exactly the chef coat he's talking about. Pretty cool. And then Wayne says, no one ever talks about the side streets and the roads, not the main streets, the off-side streets, and the potholes. Boy, roads are rough right now. I know there's a ton of construction going on.
Yeah.
There is a lot of construction happening.
Was he talking about Utica specifically?
That was during Bob Cardillo's time.
Okay, yeah. I'll just tell you, Bacon Street, where it crosses Rutger, or as it's called in the neighborhood, Rugder, it is brutal up on the top, right where Bacon and Rutger intersect. It's like, I don't know, if he fell in there, I think you'd at least twist an ankle, possibly break a leg.
Or might never come out.
And then I apologize. Lance here had a question for Mr. Cardillo. So long story short, to follow up on something we mentioned earlier this week or that happened live on the air, I decided I didn't want my coffee anymore, so I just poured a whole cup into my computer by accident, of course. And I did my best to get the coffee out of there. The laptop worked for the rest of the morning, but then about 10:30 on Wednesday, it totally shut down, and then I have not been able to get it going since. So I'm on a different laptop. They've given me something different here, and I don't have access to certain features I used to have. And confession, I can't log into to interact on our app, but I did get an email notification. This was from Lance. Please ask Mr. Cardillo. Howard Potter seems to be a thorn in your side and seems to take cheap shots about things that happened 30 to 40 years ago. Do you believe those things that he brings up helped mold you into the man that you are? I did not get a chance to ask Bob Cardillo that, but maybe it'll come up next week because we are scheduling to have a GOP primary debate between Michael Galimi and Bob Cardillo right here on the show next week.
Okay, hold on. We're going to talk to Mike Lanigan, who's running
Jeff
Lanigan is running for, sorry, I'm talking about Mike. There's a Mike running as a Republican and a Jeff running in Rome as a Republican, Jeff Lanigan.
And you're
will
looking
speak
at a
with,
Jeff.
with coming up. It's all very confusing for me. I want to tell you about a couple things. Number one, win Keeler's windows from New York Sash. So here's the story on that. We had new, beautiful, double-hung New York Sash windows put in just a couple of days ago. They did a tremendous job. And 4 windows, beautiful, triple pane, grids on both sides, double-hung windows will make your home look so much better and keep the cold out in the wintertime and the heat out in the summertime. You could win those windows. No purchase necessary. Just go to our website. On the, what is the toolbar at the top, just click on Keeler. You'll see where you can register for the windows contest. Register today. There's no purchase necessary. And you could be the winner of those 4 windows at the end of the month, all fully installed, no purchase necessary. And if you'd like to sing the national anthem at the Boilermaker post-race party, coming up on June 28th at 6 p.m. at Babes, we're holding an open audition sponsored by the Boilermaker, WUTR, Eyewitness News, Keeler in the Morning, and WIBX. It happens at Babes, June 28th at 6 p.m. All right, I have a ton to get to. We have some calls on the line. We'll speak with Mr. Lanigan. All of it coming up this hour, 8:14 at WIBX.
Aches and pains aren't trophies. They're just barriers keeping pros like you from getting the work done. You know this business can be backbreaking. All the more reason to partner with someone who has your back, like Clinton Tractor and Ferris Commercial Mowers. Ferris is about helping you finish strong and feel good doing it, with patented suspension technology that allows you to mow faster and get more work done in comfort so you can feel good tomorrow. Visit Clinton Tractor today or at clintontractor.net. Ferris, work hard, feel good.
You're invited to the 2023 Glimmerglass Festival, the world-renowned summer opera and musical theater festival located just minutes from Cooperstown. Glimmerglass has been presenting innovative, rare, and familiar works of opera and classic Broadway for nearly 50 years in a summer-long celebration of the arts that's an easy day trip from anywhere in the Mohawk Valley. This year's festival runs July 7th through August 20th, with productions that speak to the aspirations, curiosity, and passions of growing up, and what can happen when life doesn't always play along. Purchase tickets today for Puccini's La Boheme, Bernstein's Candide, Gounod's Romeo and Juliet, Handel's Rinaldo, and a world premiere youth opera. Learn more at glimmerglass.org. The Glimmerglass Festival, a highlight of your summer experiences in the Cooperstown region. Hiking, kayaking, picnicking, museums, and world-class opera and musical theater. Truly a one-of-a-kind summer destination and just a short drive from anywhere in the Mohawk Valley. Join us and see for yourself why there's no place quite like Glimmerglass.
Hello, I'm Joanne Moskal, Chief Operating Officer for Hospice and Palliative Care. At Hospice, we often hear that caregivers think of hospice as giving up, but what they are really doing is giving their loved one the opportunity to make the most of the time they have together. When a patient is appropriate for hospice, they've already been diagnosed with a terminal illness. You are not giving up on your loved one. Instead, you are increasing their care by compassionate nurses to ensure they remain comfortable throughout their disease. We want to know what is most important to you and what a good day looks like to the patient and to you. Together, we will design the care you want on your terms. We often hear, we wish we had called hospice sooner.
Hospice and Palliative Care, servicing Oneida, Herkimer, and Madison County. Middle Settlement Road, New Hartford, 315-735-6484, or visit us at hospicecareinc.org. Hospice and Palliative Care. When you need us most.
Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair. Great service at a great price.
Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair welcomes you to the grand opening of their brand new state-of-the-art facility located on East Chestnut Street in Rome. A grand opening celebration will be held at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair on Wednesday, June 14th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Come and meet and take a photo with Mario Andretti, one of the most winning racers of all time. Mario Andretti is a Formula One, IndyCar, World Sports Car Championship, and NASCAR winner. An Indy display car will be on site for photos along with food and special offers. Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair grand opening celebration Wednesday, June 14th from 1 to 4 p.m. East Chestnut Street in Rome.
All the talk, all the time.
The people of this country need to educate right now.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Hey, right now is Steve Ponte Mazda's Move to Mazda sales event. It is back. Yep, and it's good. Ricky Z says, come on in, take advantage of great deals, great opportunities. For instance, 2.9% APR financing up to 36 months on a new 2023 Mazda CX-30, CX-5, CX-50. Enjoy 0% APR financing up to 36 months on the new 2023 Mazda CX-9. Man, the CX-9 is a beautiful vehicle. It's what I like this. It has pickup. It's great gas mileage, and it moves when you need it to move, and it's a great ride. We're talking about Mazda and luxury vehicles. That's what we're talking about here. It's no coincidence that you're seeing on the road more Mazdas than ever before. And Ricky Z says, come in, and we'll take care of you. Move to Mazda sales event going on right now from the dealership that's achieved first place nationally in customer satisfaction throughout all the dealerships, Mazda dealerships in the country. Steve Ponte Mazda in Yorkville, number 1 with customer satisfaction. Steve Ponte Mazda, Commercial Drive in Yorkville.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Davey's out today, so I'm just answering phones as we go along the way. Good morning. You're on WIBX.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
I just wanted to ask a quick question about entering for the windows. I heard the last part of it.
Okay.
Where do you go?
All right, stand with me here. Are you ready? So, Are you near your computer or your phone?
No, I'm at work.
All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to WIBX950.com, and along the top, there's a bar there, and I'm trying to go there too, so I can get this correctly. Along
so WIBX.com?
WIBX950.com.
Oh, 950.
Yep. So along the top, you see the drop downs, and you go over to Keeler, and then you'll see the little drop downs there, and you're going to come to Keeler Window Contest.
Okay.
And then you'll have a form that you have to fill out, and you're entered to win, just like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you just can't go to Sash and get and.
I think you might be able to pull that off. If you dropped off there and say, "Hey, I want to sign up," I think they'd probably help you.
Oh, they would.
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
I'm not really good with the computer thing.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I got to tell you, these windows are beautiful.
Yeah. I listen to you every morning, and I caught the end of that.
Well, if you can tolerate me, you deserve 4 free windows.
I love you, Bill.
All right, thank you.
I do. You're the best. I've been listening to you since like the 80s.
Yes. Make me feel young. Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Okay. Well,
all right.
You have a good day.
You have a great weekend. Thank you.
You too.
All right. Hope she wins the windows, right? Wayne, I'll take one more call, and then we'll get to Mr. Lanigan here. Wayne, good morning.
Was Wayne also paid for this call like the last lady was?
I've always said, I just had this conversation with somebody yesterday. I enjoy the people who are yelling and screaming about me, calling me names. Those are far more entertaining for the rest of the audience.
Yes, that's true.
But I appreciate her. That was very nice.
It was sweet.
Hello, Wayne.
Hey guys, couple things. We could with the whole smoke and Boilermaker thing to so it doesn't get postponed. We do the Boilermaker stop, drop, and roll, crawl, all the way from the start to the finish. Stay low, stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah,
you know?
You want to be low. If you get low enough, you'll be below the smoke, I think.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
The thing with the roads, I was complaining about the roads because Angeline's car, she's got a little Nissan Juke, it's a beautiful, nice little car, good on gas.
Yeah.
But I had to replace everything in the front end, suspension-wise, because of these potholes. She doesn't care. She goes along, boom, boom, boom. She hits them. She tries to watch out, but she's not watching out because it's like 80% of the road is all bumps and holes anyway. Everywhere you go, and the side streets are even worse.
Plus, she's a female driver. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Jeff.
It's a joke.
Good luck with that one.
It's a
That's
joke.
where I was going. But like $800 worth of damage, and I got to still do about another $400.
Yeah.
So
it's bad right now. It really is bad.
Can't you submit part of that bill if you can prove it to the city? I've always heard that. People always say, if you went over a pothole and it blew your suspension or popped a tire, you could submit the bill to the city, and if they didn't cover the whole thing, they'd cover part of it. I don't know if you formally have to sue them in order to get somewhere with that.
I don't think you can.
Yeah, I hear people say it, but
you can. Oh, you can. You can. Matter Mr. Lanigan. We'll get to that. You're saying it can happen.
We could touch on that.
Okay, we're gonna. I'm gonna
ask about.
I'm gonna start aiming for the potholes
why wouldn't they
now.
find it cheaper? Why wouldn't they find it cheaper just to fill the potholes?
That would one would think, right? One would think.
It's not a little; it's a lot. I mean, even on my street, you go down the right-hand side as you're going down, and they'll give you a ticket. Not that I've gotten one yet, but they'll give you a ticket if you go to avoid them and you're on the other side of the road and you're not supposed to be on the.
Yeah.
They say they can give you a ticket for that.
They
Sabotage.
shouldn't, though. They shouldn't do that.
It's a problem, Wayne. There's no doubt, but hopefully, all this construction that's going on everywhere will improve this. I'm not sure it will, but it would be nice. All right, Wayne. Have a great
Thanks,
weekend,
guys.
man.
Have a good weekend.
Take care, man.
In studio right now is Jeff Lanigan. He is running as a Republican in the Rome mayor's race. And let's start with potholes. It is, at the end of the day, I think that is one of the essential things that in local politics people are always very concerned about, right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You plowing my streets, you fill in the potholes.
Absolutely.
Those are so you can sue if you hit a pothole.
Yes, you have to be able to show that the city was already notified of the pothole.
Okay.
So they
All
have to have the ability to have fixed it.
Yeah.
Before, if you hit it again. Then,
Okay. All right.
So that's kind of the.
As I said, you'll have people aiming for the potholes. That's going to be the problem. Pull that mic, if you could, a little bit closer to you, right up. Now, you have to be tight on it. Otherwise, it just doesn't work right. Good morning. We're less than 10 days away from early voting.
Absolutely. It's coming up quick.
All right. So what are the big issues that you want people to be aware of and thinking about when they enter the voting booth, even though we don't have a booth anymore?
That's true. We don't. Something I want them to remember is that we're going to bring new energy, new life, a new generation of leadership to the city of Rome. And it's not necessarily, I hate the term that people say that the city isn't burning down. To me, I don't feel that it's best for a city to be burning down to change leadership. I think it's truly, you should be able to have successes as an administration and then slowly transition that into a new administration that if I get in there, I'm not spending my first 4 years as damage control. I'm able to take the momentum that you've built and I'm able to run with that and start implementing the things that we want to do. So I want people to remember that when they're walking into that booth, that we're not out there saying the city's burning down and we need to kick this administration to the door. I'm saying it's time for new leadership. It's time for new ideas. It's time for a new vision to start coming into the city and moving us to the next level.
So it's not burning down. Is it less than that? Is it not going in the right direction? What would you say?
I would say it has a direction. I just don't think it's a broad direction. I think we have certain focal points that this administration has capitalized on and has focused on, but as a broad city, we have forgotten other parts of the city and other things that we
specifically. Give us some examples of that.
I would say our parks department, we haven't, and it's not that our parks aren't being maintained, they're just not being invested into. And our parks are outdated. We haven't taken the time or the money to bring those up to snuff what they should be. Public safety, public safety has taken a back door in Rome, New York over the last 7.5 years. What have we done new? What have we brought to the table for public safety? I mean, crime has been going up since 2017. Enough with this, blaming it on COVID, blaming it on bail reform. It was going up before that. I lived it.
Yeah.
What have you brought to the table to do anything to combat that?
What would you bring? What would you bring to the table?
Me personally, I would bring. We need to get in front of these crimes. We need to have more proactive policing out there, which that includes having more police officers on the streets, boots on the ground, and they started Chief Collins and Deputy Chief Schaaf started a new unit last year, the street crimes unit, and it's doing fantastic things. It's great, but it's only 2 officers. They only work 8 hours in a day. Imagine if you had 4 officers, if you had 6 officers. Now you're covering 24 hours of the day where they're in these high crime, high nuisance areas of the city. We need to focus on that stuff. We need to get ahead of the crimes so that we don't have to worry about bail reform, because bail reform is a judicial problem. It's when these people go to court, they're getting released. It's not that the police officers can't go out there and make the arrest. We can make the arrest. It's just they're walking out the door before the paperwork's completed.
You were a former member of the Rome Police Department and a detective. I want to ask you a couple of things. I'm on your website, and I was taking a look. You reference here, we had seen an unprecedented exodus of 17 patrol officers leaving the department due to a hostile relationship between the administration and the patrol division. Do you mean the current administration, and can you shed some light on what that divide was, or what was the cause of the hostile relationship?
Absolutely. So this would be the relationship was really with the former police administration. That has changed. I believe Chief Collins took over in the beginning of 22. And so this is with the prior administration before that.
You're talking about the police
administration. Okay. So we had a lot of issues with that administration and our patrol division. If you look back, that we fought a ticket quota grievance when I was running the union, and we were the first union in New York State to be able to prove that we actually had a ticket quota grievance. And what that was that officers were getting disciplined for not writing a certain amount of tickets within a month. And I went to the police administration several times and showed them that what they were doing was wrong and that they needed to stop. They told me they weren't doing anything wrong. So at that time, I filed for arbitration. We went to a hearing, and we won. During the course of that whole thing, we had, between 2014 2019, we had 17 patrol officers that transferred out of the Rome Police Department. And not to go to better paying or bigger departments, they were going to less paying, smaller departments because they just wanted to get out of that environment. They didn't want to deal with that anymore. Law enforcement is stressful in itself. Outside of the doors of your department. Now all of a sudden you got to worry about what's going on within your department inside those doors. That's supposed to be kind of your safe zone. So guys were getting out as fast as they could, and we couldn't fill those spaces. And so it was making it very difficult for us as a department to keep up with, the amount of officers on the street. So I, as the union president, reached out to the current City Hall administration to try to sit down with them once the communication broke up with the police administration. And they would never sit down with me. They would never talk to me so I could express to them what was going on and why we were having so much trouble. When I came out of the police department, you never had where you were hiring 7, 8 cops at a time. It was difficult to get into the police department. If you didn't score an 85 or a 90 on the civil service exam, you weren't even getting called for a PT test. Then all of a sudden we were hiring 6, 7, 8, 9 guys at a time because we had so many walking out the door. Not just transferring out, but our upper supervisors, they were hitting 20 years and retiring because they didn't want to deal with it anymore. They were going to find new careers. So it was a very, very difficult for the Rome Police Department, or time for the Rome Police Department, but we got through it, and things have gotten better for the guys.
Speaking with Jeff Lanigan, he's running for mayor of the city of Rome, challenging incumbent mayor Jackie Izzo Lanaski.
This doesn't relate to the run for office, but since it came up, I've always heard about people saying, cops have a quota. They have to write so many tickets a month. And then when you talk to police officials, they say, no, that's not true. That's not true. So can you shed some more light on that? There was an actual quota. What was it, and what was the ruling? When you say we went to arbitration and we won, what did you win?
So everybody always talks about the ticket quota. And, you have lineups, and you go down to lineup, for your shift, and the sergeant who's given the lineup, or the lieutenant or the captain, would always tell you that, hey, guys, we got to get our ticket numbers up. We got to do this. We got to do that, And, you just took it as, okay, yep, we got to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
And
if I see it, I'll get on it.
Exactly. And it was kind of like you always had that discretion. If I pulled somebody over and I could make that decision of, I'm not going to write this guy a ticket. Regardless of it, the person, they broke a law. So they did wrong. They can get a ticket or they cannot get a ticket. Well, what happened with that was now all of a sudden you're coming back in and, well, you didn't write any tickets last night. Well, yeah, I did this, I did that. Well, no, you got to write 2 tickets a night. And it got to the point for our patrol guys where they were getting calls from the supervisors saying, hey, how many cars did you stop tonight? Well, I stopped 2 cars. Well, how many tickets did you write? Well, I wrote 1. Well, why didn't you write 2? Well, I let the person go. They were on their way to work. They were running late. So all of a sudden, you can't do that. And then it came down to where we were getting our year-end reports. Now it was written in there. Well, he had some disciplinary action taken against him for insufficient amount of tickets in the month of February. And all this stuff was being documented. And that was what we eventually won off of, was because they started documenting these things. They started putting them into counseling memorandums. They started putting them into people's year-end reports. So that's ultimately how I ended up winning the case. Was I had actual physical documentation where they were writing these things down. Took all that to court, presented that. And by winning, what it is that the arbitrator came through and said, listen, you guys need to stop what you're doing. This is a violation of the Terry law. You cannot discipline these guys for not writing enough tickets in the month of February. That piece of paper itself probably wouldn't hold much weight. It just, if they did it again, we would file another grievance, do the same thing. So
you were representing the union there?
Yes, I was the president of the union at the time.
And that was the previous police administration?
That was the previous police administration.
I wanted to, are you good with that?
Oh, yeah. Since you mentioned it, I figured I've heard so many times about it, I just wanted to ask a question about it, but go ahead.
I wanted to, and in full disclosure, you know that I do commercials for Mary Izzo, television and radio commercials.
Correct.
But that affects you zero on this program. Otherwise, Manaski comes across the board and it gets ugly. Actually, it would be Ann.
Yes,
Ann
it would
from Rome
be Ann.
that would be coming after me. So, but there was a story in the Sentinel, and I'm going to ask the same question of Mary Izzo when we have her on. I would just like some background and your take on this. This is the story of whether there's retirement or on disability, an incident that occurred at City Hall. I think you know what I'm going.
Yes.
Can you explain that and give us your side of that story? And as I said, we'll ask the same question of Mary Izzo when she's on next.
Absolutely. So 2018, during a SWAT call-out, I was injured while dealing with a suspect. And in the course of that, I injured my shoulder, I injured my neck. So over time, I had the shoulder repaired. The neck, they did everything they could for my neck up until major neck surgery. I ultimately had to have major neck surgery. So during this whole time, I was restricted to light duty status within the police department. I was at a desk. I was already kind of a desk guy. I was a detective at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't go out on any major calls until scenes were cleared and things like that.
Yeah.
I was no longer able to go out with the SWAT team. And so during that whole course of that time, I went through all that, went through all the medical procedures. Well, the time finally came where through the course of 5 different doctors, they said that I could never be cleared to return to full active duty without attempting serious neck surgery. And even at that time, they couldn't guarantee that I'd be cleared because of range of motion. So I made the decision to file for retirement and walk away from the job that I loved. And the crazy thing is they're using this against me now when this wasn't disputed one time by the city while I was going through it, because it's a benefit to the city. My salary as a detective was $90,000 a year. I rode a desk. I couldn't be out there doing the things. I couldn't be fully active as a detective or as a police officer. I decided to retire. I could have rode that out. I could have rode out $90,000 for the next 5, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And I chose not to. I chose because it wasn't for me.
When you say rode that out, what would that mean?
I could have stayed at the police department collecting my $90,000 a year, not doing the job that I was fully getting.
You would have had a desk job.
I would have had a desk job.
Okay.
Doing, odds and end work, whatever they could come up with. I chose that I didn't want to do that. It wasn't fair to the department. It wasn't fair to the city. It wasn't fair to myself, just mentally coming from doing everything at the highest that I was doing it to now it's, I'm not doing that. So I decided to walk away, retire. My pension is $41,000 a year. So how I made out in this deal is beyond me. And like I said, the city never once fought this, argued it, said anything about it until I announced that I was running for mayor and coming after your job. So I retired. I got my pension through New York State. I did not go out on New York State disability. I didn't get a settlement. I don't collect New York State disability. I just simply collect my New York State retirement, which under police and fire, if you were hurt in the line of duty, you were able to do that. And actually, the city can actually file for you to be retired out. You can do it personally, or the city can do it.
Was it early? It was early retirement. You spent how long?
15 years.
15
Yes,
years.
I did
And
15
a
years.
normal retirement would have been 20.
20 years.
20
yes,
years. Okay.
Correct.
And then was there an incident or something that occurred?
Yes.
Do you have a side of that story?
Yes. So one of my volunteers, Ann from Rome, went to City Hall.
All right. Who calls the show?
Ann.
It was Ann from Rome. You're Ann from Rome.
Yeah.
Went to City Hall to conduct public business in City Hall. She runs into, as she's entering the building, she runs into the mayor's secretary, who she knows, personal experience, whatever the case may be. She says hi to her. They walk into City Hall, into the lobby, and the secretary is on the phone, and she hangs up the phone, and all of a sudden, now Ann from Rome is one of my volunteers on my campaign. She says, "How can you support him?" Starts screaming at her in the lobby. And Ann says, "Well, what are you talking about?" He's on disability. He collects disability. Now, this is in the lobby of City Hall with other people there. There was a police officer there that witnessed it. And just starts berating Ann about supporting me and how could you support him? He collects disability. And then during the course of that, she's shaking her finger in her face. And then at the end of it says, how would you want somebody with a disability running this city? And, that's just, Ann immediately called me after that and told me what had happened. And I just couldn't believe that. Like, you're going to do that in City Hall. Somebody's there to conduct their public business within City Hall. You're going to just verbally attack them and assault them in front of several other people just because of the person that they support, that they feel would do a better job at running the city. This is America. Everybody has their choice of who they'd like to support. And so that was kind of, I guess it's par for the course with this administration. But
two things I would ask you on that. Number one, in the Sentinel story, because they also reached out to Mayor Izzo, the mayor said that an incident was never reported. Do you know that to be true, or was an incident reported?
No, I don't think it was ever reported. I don't think Ann ever made a major deal out of it as far as going to. And honestly, what would have been done anyways?
And then the other. So you don't think that anything would have been done?
No, I can promise you, probably nothing would have been done.
Okay. And then the other thing is, I wanted, because you had said that the statement was, how could you vote for someone who has a disability? Can you talk about because I think that should be qualified. A disability, because when I think of someone with a disability, I'm not thinking of you, versus someone who's out on disability. Those are two very different things. Are you implying that person said, how could you vote for someone who has a disability, which would be different than how could you vote for someone who's out on disability? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what
and are you saying that the statement was, how could you vote for someone with a disability?
Yes, the statement was, would you want somebody with a disability running this city? So to me, that means that somebody with a disability, not out on disability. And the thing is I'm not out on disability. I'm retired.
I understand that.
Yeah, I'm not out on disability.
But you understand the difference between someone who's out on disability and someone with a disability.
You don't have a disability otherwise, though, right?
I have a physical injury.
Right.
So
correct. Which is my point. And I think the question that I'm saying is, are you charging that secretary said that the current administration would not hire someone with a disability, or it's frowned upon to hire someone, such as in the mayor's position, with a disability? Because that's a pretty big accusation.
Am I saying that the administration would not hire this current administration?
That's what this person said.
No. What this person said was that, would you want somebody with a disability running this city?
Okay.
Is what? No, it wasn't anything. It wasn't an accusation that this current administration wouldn't hire somebody with a disability.
Okay.
Her statement is that, would you want somebody with a disability to run?
And the only other thing I would ask you about, and again, we'll ask the very same questions of Mayor Izzo. You did put out a video on this, which I saw, and I'm not sure if the video is still out there. But at that time that you talked about this, you showed a picture of someone who seemed to be someone who had a disability. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about? A developmental disability.
Okay.
I'm asking so are you implying that this is about disabled people versus somebody out on disability insurance? Because it was in your video, to be fair.
Well, I'm not understanding what
there was
your
a
question
photo
is.
in your video when you talked about this. There was a photo of you.
Yes,
with,
Ryan. I know who you're talking
correct,
about. Yes.
who is developmentally disabled, I believe. So the timing of that picture was there when you're talking about saying, would you want someone with a disability? Are you making the accusation that this mayor discriminates against people who are disabled?
I'm not making any accusations. What I'm telling you is the facts of what was said to my volunteer of my campaign is what I am saying to you. I'm not making any accusations. I'm just giving you the facts. You're entitled to your own opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts. I'm giving you the facts of what was said. And I understand.
I understand, but facts, the word, I want the definition of the word, what that meant, I guess is what I'm saying.
You're going to have to ask that employee. Of
that
the
employee
mayor.
and
Of what
I'd
she
love
meant.
that should be the debate. We're not going to have a debate between you and Mayor Izzo. We're bringing Ann on
Listen,
and the employee.
I would not want to argue with Ann.
No,
I'll tell
believe
you
me,
that.
you
I
have
know
to
she calls
understand.
in here quite a bit,
We are well aware
exactly
that you don't argue with Ann.
Yes.
Now Ann can argue with us, and we take it. We love Ann Manaski.
Well, so I'll just follow up to that because there does seem to be. I have a question here from Lance.
I'm only asking because I'm thinking if you're making that accusation, that's a big accusation to make, right?
Right. And the question is, and I understand what you're saying. You're not alleging. You're just reporting what you were told was said. But
the
I think what you're saying
video
in
is
the video,
the video adds innuendo.
Innuendo that the use of the word disability there was in regard to either your shoulder or your neck, and then when it was discussed publicly afterward, the implication was the word disability was used in regards to somebody who had a developmental disability, and there is a difference between the two. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yes,
and to me, that accusation, I'm only saying this, if that accusation, this doesn't matter who I do commercials for, to me, if there's an accusation of such a thing against any administration, that is a big issue, and it should be talked about. And as I said, we'll ask the same question of the mayor when she's on. You want further with that?
Not with that.
Okay.
I've got Lance here. Please thank you for holding this. Okay. That was Bob Cardillo. Thank you. And then he says, here's a question for Mr. Lanigan. I live next to an ex-city employee with a Lanigan sign. He told me that many city retirees, current employees, and much of the Common Council also have signs supporting him. What does he attribute that to?
I attribute that to probably my ability to communicate. I have met with so many people. When this all began, and I started to make our time where I'm going to make my announcement that I'm running, we made my first. We kind of strategized to say, hey, this is going to be my announcement. At my announcement, I'm going to make my first fundraiser 30 days later. And the 30 days, the fundraiser is going to be kind of my kickoff to get, the support rolling. So what had happened is I made my announcement, and I want to say probably the next day or 2 days later, the support started rolling in. And that's kind of where we saw where that the city really was looking for somebody, was really looking for a change. And during the course of that, I received so many phone calls and messages from current city employees, from former city employees, and they wanted to meet with me, they wanted to talk to me, they wanted to discuss the issues and the problems that they had with this current administration and the things that they went through. And I met with every single one of them. There wasn't a single person that I wouldn't meet with, I wouldn't talk to. And I sat down with them. I heard their concerns. I heard what happened with them. I think that contributed a lot to it. Also, when I started this process of looking into whether I was going to run, I obviously don't come from politics. I wasn't born and bred into politics. So I had to kind of reach out to people that I knew that were involved in politics over time. And part of that was common counselors that I'd known from my work within the police department, within Community Impact Unit, and I would sit and meet with them. Well, during the course of that, they would introduce me to new common counselors. And once again, my communication, my ability to talk with them, my love for the city that I showed to them really kind of gave them the ability to jump on and say, you know what, we think this guy is going to do great things for our city. And they, it was kind of, it all came at once, and I'm very thankful for the amount of support that I have gotten from employees, former employees, the Common Council, and then just the constituents of Rome. It's really been overwhelming, the amount of support that I've received.
Is there a rift you feel between the Common Council and the mayor's office?
Absolutely. I think her inability to communicate with them, her just not including them in projects, and just this last thing with the ARPA money, how the first round of ARPA money, they all worked together. They came up with, they had meetings, they came up with solutions of what to spend the money on, what's the best way to do it. They do all that. They go through the whole process. Then over the next year, the ARPA committee for the Common Council sends several emails to the city saying, hey, when are we going to get together? Let's have a meeting. We need to discuss what we're going to do with this next round of funding. The city wrote back, oh, we're not ready, we're not ready, we're not ready, we're not ready. All of a sudden, here we are in an election year, 3 months out from the primary. Hey, this is what we're going to spend our money on from the mayor's office. At the same time, she sends that out to the public. She sends an email to the Common Council. I mean, that's just a slap in the face to the Common Council.
So you feel it's communication, and how do you rate the and what would you do differently, if anything, in the way that the mayor's office has decided or recommended? So recommends, and then the council will end up deciding, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So
I think it's a 50-50. I think the mayor.
I don't know how it works. Yeah,
I think it's a 50-50 split.
Some municipalities have done it differently.
Yeah.
But of her recommendations, rate those. How would you spend it differently, or are you okay with the way that recommendation came down?
I'm okay with some of them. I wanted a little bit more information when it first came out. I spoke at another Common Council meeting regarding it, because just the way it came out is we're going to give $3 million to the hospital. We're going to give $1 million to the Rome Art Community Center. But it doesn't break down and say, this is what we need it for. This is the cost of the project. This is how much funding is coming in from the county. None of it was broken down. There are things that out of the $24 million that we got in ARPA funding, we spent $177,000 of it on Parks and Recreation. City of Utica spent a third of their money on Parks. That new park they put in for the kids at Proctor Park is incredible. But City of Rome spent $177,000, and our parks are crumbling. They really need to be updated. We really need to put some new things in there for kids to do to get outside. So to me, I would have taken some of that. I wish that some of that funding would be left over for next year if I was to be successful, that I could take some of that funding and put it towards our Parks and Recs Department. That if I could go to the Parks and Recs Department and say, hey, listen, you guys have $2 million to work with. Let's come up with a strategy of what parks need to be updated first. What can we bring in to get more families here, to get more kids out playing in the playgrounds? So to some of the projects I do agree with. Several of the projects I don't. I just think the money could be spent other places.
What specifically don't you agree with?
The canopy over they're going to tear down the parking garage on James Street. They want to give $1 million to put a canopy over the top of that. Well, 2-3 years ago, we tore down the parking garage a block and a half away, and Georgian Arms Apartments, which is an elderly apartment facility, they park over there. They don't have a canopy over it. So what's the difference between this one and a block down the road? Now you want to spend $1 million putting a canopy over the top. I think that money could be spent other places.
Okay.
It would benefit the city as a whole instead of just the few people that are going to be parking, including city employees that would be parking underneath that canopy. So.
Speaking with Jeff Lanigan, running for mayor in the city of Rome.
I just want
upcoming primary. Sorry, a little slow getting to the upcoming primary or early voting because it's very confusing now, right?
Yes,
early voting is the 17th through the 25th, and then primary day is the 27th.
So I just wanted to note two things. Our previous guest, Mr. Cardillo, I think he accurately said that the ARPA money's got to be spent by the end of this year, otherwise the municipalities lose it. Am I confusing
there's
things?
a deadline coming up,
Okay.
and so that's just part of the recent the recent budget, the debt ceiling deal that was brokered. They want to be able to pull some of that money back that goes unspent. So municipalities are going to have to spend the money. I don't know what the deadline is. Do you know the deadline?
I don't know. I know it used to be, I believe that you had to spend the money by the end of 2025, I think was the original deal with
I
the
think
money.
that might...
But the new, like Bill's saying, the new debt ceiling that
Yeah.
just came through, I think there's some verbiage in there. We looked through it to try to come up with a date. I think it was 99 pages long. We couldn't figure what the date was that you would have to actually spend the money by.
I don't think it's the end of this year, though.
I don't think so either. I don't think.
And I think it may still be 2025. But either way, municipality is going to have to spend the money, or ultimately you're going to lose it.
So there is a chance that some of that money could be left over. And I just wanted to note, this isn't really a question, that you said 177,000 was spent on parks, and it was a contrast to what Utica spent. And it was funny because in Utica, people were like, I can't believe we spent all this money on our park system.
Yeah. And by the way, be careful what you ask for. If in Utica, it was basically you went out to the public and said, what should we do? What shouldn't we do? We'd be fighting for 3 decades. And then something would happen.
Then we'd lose all the money and never
the money would be gone, but some of it would have been embezzled. So everything's going to be okay. But I do realize Rome is a completely different animal than Utica, and I believe the Romans are proud of that.
That's all I've got for today.
Anything else you want to add? You're okay? You're good on a debate? I know that we're trying to work out a date to get the two of you in studio.
That's the first I've heard of it.
Oh, well,
so I've been working on the Utica one. I have
I
not.
don't mean to be like, oh, Mr. Manansky.
I have not reached out to Mr. Lanigan for that. And I think we've asked Jackie, but I actually haven't talked to Jackie directly about that.
Oh, okay. So I was just, will you debate? Will you debate? We want to do it sometime in the next week and a half here. So,
if I can fit it in, absolutely.
All right.
Okay. I will follow up with you after the show.
And we'll set a date and come up with the ground rules and all that, as long as you're good with it. Get you both in the studio. Sometimes that allows for, oftentimes a candidate has an answer, and then 3 days later we get the
response.
The response to it. Here it can all be done in real time, and we look forward to that. Anything else you want to add?
Just get out and vote. That's all I can ask, is starting on the 17th with the early voting, and then obviously June 27th, if you're a registered Republican, get out there and vote. And if you have any questions regarding me, you can contact me on my website or Facebook, and be more than happy to answer any questions for you.
All right. Jeff Flanagan, thank you so much. We appreciate the time. Thank you. Quick break, and then we'll wrap up the rest of this morning here, 8:54 at WIBX.
Which room is next for you? The bedroom? Your kitchen? The living room? Hi, this is Kira Meelan from Meelan's Carpet One. What's holding back that next home project? Is it budget? We have flooring choices for any budget and financing options available. Maybe it's inspiration. If so, come and talk to our experienced design team. We're here to help you get unstuck. Maybe you're putting off redoing a room because you're worried about spills and accidents. Whether it's a pet in training or a growing family, we have flooring solutions that can withstand anything life has to throw at it. We have incredibly durable tile options and 100% water-resistant carpeting that's both beautiful and practical. We have options that inspire, designers who will help bring it all together, and always a beautiful installation. To get the perfect flooring, start with the right flooring store. Visit Meelan's Carpet One on Commercial Drive East in Yorkville.
Spring is on the way, and if you're looking to make the most of it in a new RV, camper, boat, or trailer, then look to Mohawk Valley FCU. Right now, you can get up to 120-month financing for as low as 5.74% APR for any new recreation vehicle. That's 120 months of financing for as low as 5.74% APR. Go to MohawkValleyFCU.org for more info and to apply today. Mohawk Valley FCU, member-focused, member-driven.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
A Fred F. Collison Sons Heating, Cooling, and Insulation, ready to take care of you. And I don't know if you've been paying attention, but unless we get some real heavy smog cover, it looks like Sunday will be up into the low 80s. And as things begin to heat back up, and it's expected to, you can only imagine, based on the temperatures we had in April, May, and June already, high temperatures, that we could be in for some really hot weather this summer. Are you prepared with your AC system? Do you have something other than a window AC, which really can drain the kilowatts and really put stress on your budget? There are options. If you have ductwork, Collis would love to talk to you about Central Air. It is cost-effective and efficient. If you don't have ductwork, there are some great options, and we're talking about mini splits. The mini split system, energy efficient, ability to cool and heat the home as well, and there are many rebates available through New York State that Collis can help you take advantage of. In fact, contact their expert assistant, and they'll give you expert assistance navigating through those rebates. Call today at 315-768-2323 or online, fredfcollis.com. As always, Collis offers free estimates and free home energy assessments. We had one done in our home. They'll tell you right where you're losing your money. Fred F. Collis & Sons, Heating and Cooling, online, fredfcollis.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
If you have severe back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, there is help. It's the Omni Surgery Center with Dr. Hyder in the Business Park and with the Surgery Center on French Road. Currently, we have family members involved going to the Omni Surgical Center. I see Dr. Hyder in action firsthand, witnessing it, and it is just a great facility, caring and strategic. The concept is to get rid of the pain. Living with pain just can be debilitating. Their website, killpain.com. And as I said, I've witnessed this firsthand. It's nothing short of a miracle when you watch somebody walk out after walking in, barely getting in with the pain, and walk out with the pain gone, being able to get a full night's rest. Nothing short of a miracle. If you're dealing in pain, call the Omni Surgery Center, Dr. Hyder, at 315-765-8448. The website is killpain.com, Omni Surgery Center with Dr. Hyder in the Business Park and on French Road.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica, Rome, W295DI Utica, Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
It's the second Trump indictment in 2 months. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and like the first one in New York City, the former president calls new federal charges a hoax.
Our country is going to hell, and they come after Donald Trump, weaponizing the Justice Department.
He says he's innocent, and the 2024 Republican frontrunner calls it election interference. The former president's due in court Tuesday in Miami, facing 7 charges, including obstruction of justice for what happened in Florida.
The Department of Justice has been investigating whether classified documents from the Trump White House were illegally mishandled when they were taken right here to Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach. Now, if you remember, 10 months ago, the FBI raided the resort and left with boxes full of documents. Some, they say, were classified, top secret.
Fox Business Network's Ashley Webster, Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff tweeted, the former president has been acting like he's above the law. Now he's being treated like any other lawbreaker, like he should be. Another House Democrat, Jamie Raskin, says the former president put our national security at risk. But Republican Congressman James Comer, chair of the House Oversight Committee, tells Fox the current president is also under investigation for having classified documents dating years back.
Joe Biden has mishandled classified documents in a much more severe manner than Donald Trump. The FBI clearly has treated Joe Biden very differently.
Comer's also investigating Biden family business dealings, including an allegation the president may have been involved in bribery while he was vice president. President Biden laughed it off yesterday.
Where's the money? I'm joking.
Mr. President,
it's a bunch of malarkey.
The UN just reported a soldier and its peacekeeping forces has been killed and 4 others injured in an attack in Mali. Ukraine claims a Russian bombing at a hospital killed 2 people today. At least 14 more are dead in the flooding disaster of a dam collapse in a war zone in Ukraine that's displaced thousands more. America's listening to Fox News.
I've told you about my lower back pain and how kneeling in church on Sunday was becoming nearly unbearable. Sebastian Gorka here. I've also told you about how Relief Factor has helped almost eliminate my pain. Now, let me tell you what Robert in California says about his experience with Relief Factor. Robert writes, I didn't think Relief Factor was working until I ran out mid-month. After about 3 days, the pain was back to where it started. It was a great test for me to see how much Relief Factor really works. 3 weeks from now, you could be doing the things you enjoy doing and living the life you love. Your first step to becoming pain-free from aches and pains from daily living could be just to order the 3-week quick start for only $19.95. After trying Relief Factor, over 500,000 people have gone on to order more. Go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF to find out about this offer. That's relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF.